The following is a Channel 29 special sports presentation.
WHCS Channel 29 presents the Eastern Regional Division 5 Finals of the Group AAA High School Football. The Phoebus Phantoms versus the Wilson Presidents. Good evening, everybody. I'm Tim Cole, along with Bob Hintz and A.G. Womble at damp Todd Stadium. Second night in a row, Bob, we've looked at weather conditions less than perfect for a football game, but things seem to be improving as we go along here. The rain has been intermittent most of the afternoon, but at the moment we do not have any rain, but we do have a slick field. How do you see this affecting the ball game tonight?
Well, it's going to have a lot of effect on the ball game tonight. The Presidents come in and they have basically a passing attack. They got a freshman quarterback, which is very unusual to have a freshman starting quarterback for a AAA team, but he has passed for 12 touchdowns this year. But the field is definitely going to favor the ball carrier, who is a heavy runner. It doesn't have to cut. He's not real fast, but he's just a plotter. And I think of Tom Bodie, the fullback for Phoebus. I mean, he just goes straight ahead. He hits and goes straight ahead. Brown is much quicker. He's a lot quicker back, but he does still go straight ahead. He doesn't have to rely on his quickness and being shifty. They play, they being the Presidents, play a 5-0 defense, very similar to what Phoebus ran into Manor last week. They will stunt the gaps, very similar to what Manor did. So coaching staff feels pretty good because the conditions favor the Phantoms here, not the Presidents.
Of course, both of these teams had excellent seasons. You don't get to the playoffs unless you do. Both of these teams were hurt by forfeits. Ineligible players on both teams caused a couple of victories for each of the teams. Phoebus had to forfeit one game, Wilson 2 games, which in fact affected the standings at the end of the season.
Well, that's one reason they're over here playing. Had Wilson not had to forfeit, they would have been the home team. We would have been playing across the river. Of course, Phoebus's forfeit allowed Kickintan to get into the playoffs, which they ran into a buzzsaw of Hampton. And we saw that with a good running attack, this field will not affect straight ahead runners. Now that's what Hampton uses. They go straight ahead. They go a little off tackle and right up the middle. They don't do a lot of fancy stuff. They don't run the option. And so that's why I say this field even is damper than what it was last night, because it's been off and on rainy all night, all day. So when we got up here, I noticed there was a lot of bare spots. They have put sand on the field, Tim, and some spots to absorb some of the liquid out there.
Okay, we have the Phantoms about to come on the field. Wilson has yet to arrive on the field. While we have this opportunity, let's see if we can't run down both the offensive and defensive starting lineups for both of these fine teams this evening. First of all, for the 10-1 on the season Phantoms, but in fact 9-2 when you figure in the forfeit. At the quarterback, they'll have Holloman. The fullback will be Bodie, the tailback Brown, the slot back will be Mike Artis. Brown will be the center. Williams and Boyd are the guards. Jenkins and Cox will be the tackles, and the ends will be Petey Whitfield and Jay Wilson.
On defense for the Phantoms, they got nose guard Tim Williams. At the tackle position, they got Booker Cox and Andre Jenkins. At ends, defensive ends, Petey Whitfield, who goes both ways, as do a lot of these players. Jerry Dysick is the other defensive end. Tommy Bodie and David Brown are the linebackers. Curtis Witz is a cornerback, along with Jonathan Wilson, and the safeties. Mike Artis is a is a free safety, and Bobby Turner is a strong safety.
And you mentioned that, of course, for the Phantoms, they have 8 players that play both offense and defense, so that could be a factor down the road. But the Wilson Presidents have 9 players.
So they, both these teams kind of mirror themselves in that they're using a lot of players both ways. So if we got a chance, we'll run down the offense and defense for the Woodrow Wilson Presidents.
There we see on offense for the Presidents. They will have at center Fetty, Perot, and Barber will be the guards. The tackles are Dawson and Latham. The ends are High and Hinton. The flanker is Green. The running backs are Moore and Wright. And Aaron Sparrow, number 10, will be the freshman quarterback. You have to wonder what type of pressure this is going to be dealt with by the young Sparrow, being a freshman.
That's a good point. On the defense for the Wilson Presidents, nose guard is Barber. The tackles are Latham and Dawson. The outside linebackers are Hayes and Evans. The inside linebackers are Wright and Perot. The cornerbacks, High and Green. Free safety, Hinton. And strong safety is Moore.
All right, we're going to have the colors are being shown, and momentarily we will have the playing of our national anthem. The Wilson Presidents, as I said, are 8-3 on the season, and our national anthem.
We have a sparse crowd here tonight.
It's highly unfortunate that the weather is so inclement, because this game should be a real fine football game, and the Phantoms have had an excellent season, as have the Presidents of Wilson, and it's just a shame that they can't play on a perfect night for football, but we sure haven't got that tonight.
No, and that's good to really keep the fans down. We see both teams coming out, and there comes the Phantoms running through their sign there. And they're really fired up for this game. I got the chance to talk to both coaches, Coach Billy D and Mike Talon. We get a chance, we're going to go over the officials. We can see that Jim Fay right there is the referee in the white hat. Jordan Adamowski is the umpire. Charles Croson is the linesman. Mike Yersica is the line judge, and Bernie Reesbeck is the back judge. And this is a Peninsula crew tonight, Tim. We've had crews from the southeast and from Norfolk and on the other games, and tonight we have the crew from the Peninsula.
And lest we should forget, Bob, let's of course name the coaches for both teams. For
Absolutely.
The Phantoms of Phoebus, they are coached by head coach Bill D. He's assisted by Tom McIntyre, Mike Talon, Mike Williams, Vernon Lee, Aubrey Perry, Doc Jones, Todd Neal, and Frank Snyder.
And for the Wilson Presidents, the head coach is Darnell Moore, assisted by Kenneth Rogers, Joe Ladsick, and Wayne Thompson. And you can see, Tim, we got the co-captains going out to the center of the field now.
All right, for the Presidents of Wilson, they are represented by number 70, Kevin Latham, and number 88 is Barry High. And for the Phantoms of Phoebus, they have Petey Whitfield, number 8, and David Brown, number 44, as their co-captains, as the officials are being introduced. Good shot there by our on-the-field camera, right down there right in the huddle there with the officials.
Now that's NFL style. Well, that's getting right down there. That's great. Too bad we don't have a mic we can hear what's going on.
Well, I think our camera is mic is here quiet. Maybe we can pick that up.
Which one will call? Okay, I'll call it. That's the tail. All the while it's in the air. If I drop it, we'll toss it in. Dick defer to a down off the unit side when you want to receive it and then go kick. You want to kick it?
for the second half.
So now the other team, of course, explain this to me if you can. We've seen this happen in almost every game.
Okay, what's happening is Phoebus says we want the ball to start the second half, so they won the toss, so they have their choice of making the decision now or deferring to the second half. They elected to defer to second half, as we saw last Saturday night when they played Manor. They did the same thing. So that means they're kicking, and they're kicking hopefully with the wind. Now, when we came up, the wind was blowing from my right to the left, but they're kicking from left to right, so maybe the wind is swirling out there doing something. I'm not sure.
It seems to have, as the wind now seems to be coming across the field towards us on this near sideline. So it's going to be one of those situations that where the wind will not be quite a factor that it was last week, perhaps because it won't be coming from one direction per se. Last week you saw the game, if you watched it from Western Branch, we about froze to death. Tonight, a different situation. I got my jacket off. It's warm up here in Todd Stadium. Once again, Wayne Begore and his crew here at Todd Stadium have done a superb job readying this field. As you said, we had some moisture problems in the middle of the field, right around the 35, 40-yard line from the sprinkler system, I'm told.
Right.
And they have tried to put some sand down and dry it out as best they can. So we'll be set to go momentarily with the 9-2 Phoebus Phantoms and the 8-3 Wilson Presidents. And as I said, on paper, these teams are those records, but in fact on the field, they're both 10-1.
10-1, most certainly. Now, I talked with Mike Talon, and he said one thing about Wilson is that they don't have a real good kicking game, but they do what they have to do to win. Now, 3 games they won. They scored a touchdown with no time left. They went for a 2-point conversion with no time left, got that, and then an overtime. So there was 3 wins that they made that could have gone the other way, which would have knocked them completely out of the playoffs.
The only common opponent was Manor High School. Presidents won in overtime, 13-12. And of course, last week, the Phantoms of Phoebus demolished Manor 41-3. The kickoff is in the air. It's a short kick. It's to the far side of the field, and it's taken and downed at the 25, as the person making that catch would be number 84, Armand Debise, and he chose to catch that ball with his knee on the ground. So
and they don't think about that, Tim. In the pros, you can do that. You got to be hit now. But in high school and college, you put your knee down, you're down.
Okay, so the Phantoms will get the ball, and they'll start from their 25-yard line. The highly potent Phantoms, I should add, they have scored at a clip of 23 points per ball game. Man with the ball is David Brown, the bread and butter man. They've counted on him all year. He's got over 1,285 yards on the season, and he is, in fact, going to be the man we'll look to do most of the ball carrying tonight. But they do have Tom Bodie, who has shown certain sparks of brilliance here in the latter part of the season.
And speaking about Bodie, last week we thought he hurt his arm. What he did is he had twisted an ankle, and they said he's healthy and he's ready to go. So that was not a real bad injury. We was concerned about that last week.
Pickup of a little more than 2, second down and a long 7. Inside handoff, this is Bodie. He crosses the 30 to about the 32. So the Phantoms, as would be expected, are keeping it on the ground early in the ball game. Of course, the rain has been intermittent. It is very lightly misting right now. There's not a heavy downpour, but it's certainly enough to keep the ball slippery. The officials will, in fact, cover the ball. There you see on your screen the defense for the the white-clad Wilson Presidents. The Phantoms, of course, are the home team. Jeff Holloman is the quarterback for the Phantoms. Off the right side, a flag comes down. It'll be short of the first down, and a flag is down. So we'll wait and see what the call.
Preliminary signal is illegal motion. Somebody must have left too soon for the Phantoms, so they will probably decline that because it's short of a first down, which brings up a kicking situation. And I don't believe that Phoebus kicked once last week, if my memory serves me correct.
Certainly not much. If in fact, let me see here. Roy Heath has given us some super statistics here, and it shows that in fact we had 1 punt on the part of the Phantoms last week. That was Weichel, who's on the field now to stand at about his 18. He averaged, or not average, when you kick one, you don't have an average. He kicked 1 40-yard punt last week. Weichel gets the snap. It's almost blocked. He's taken down, and they're going to get a first down. The Phantoms are, as he was roughed on the play. It's academic as to where the ball rolls, because we're going to see 15 yards marked off against the Presidents, so they commit the first error of the ball game in an effort to block the punt. They roughed the kicker, and Phoebus will get new life on offense.
Most certainly will. And last night we noticed that if you remember that there was a blocked punt which led to a field goal for the Hampton Crabbers, and tonight they went in for the block and did not get it, knocked the man down, and give him a first down. So this is a game of mistakes. If you can make the least amount of mistakes, and you're going to win a ball game. And of course, you got to take advantage of a situation when it comes up like this. So Phantoms now have the ball. They're in good field position. What they need to do is go ahead and get the drive. And we have seen them play this number of times this year, Tim, where they will just take the ball and run it, go right down the field, and they very seldom will pass. But when they do, they're pretty successful with it.
Phantoms will start now at the 47. Brown gets the handoff. He's spinning away from tacklers, crosses midfield to about the 49 of Wilson.
But Wilson, Presidents was in that 5-man front, and they're coming into the gaps, and they're trying to stop the running, because basically Phoebus has two runners, Bodie and Brown. And of course, Brown is the #1 rusher in the district. But you notice, Tim, that he's not slipping because he's a heavy man, but he is very quick, and I was very surprised to find out that he runs the 40-yard dash in 4.5, which is what college coaches are looking for.
At the 49, handoff, first man through. Down close to a first down.
It depends on where he spots that, Tim. That's a close call. They're going to have to measure it. That's that left foot, right foot thing. If he'd have put that with his left foot, that would have been a first down.
Tom Bodie, the ball carrier. It's going to be an official's timeout for the measurement. Going to test me early here, I can see.
Well, Tim, I'm waiting for your call.
Well, I think he got it by about an inch, Bob. It's going to be real close, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say he got it by the white stripe on the football. And I look like I might be a little shy.
I think you're about an inch the other way,
yeah.
Tim.
Yeah, the officials, there you see a good shot of it. The ball is just that much short of the first down. The rain on the window here kind of messed my vision up.
Oh, excuses. We're going to have excuses already, huh? All right, Tim. So I tell you, if he'd have marked that with his left foot, that was the inch you were looking for.
I thought he was left-footed, but that was no problem. All right, 3rd and inches. Of course, you got Brown and Bodie in the backfield. We look for Holloman to run a quarterback keeper. He does, and they easily get the first down.
But one thing, Tim, that I've noticed tonight that the officials that were here last night did not do, they never covered that ball last night, and it was missed in a whole lot harder than it is out here tonight. These officials from the Peninsula District, of course, they're not changing balls either. The other officials change balls every play. This group is not changing balls every play, but they are covering the ball. They need to, because it is going to be slippery out there.
So the Phantoms get their second first down of the ball game. This one via the run. The first one they got, of course, as a benefit of that penalty. Pitch out goes to Brown. Brown will be stopped for no gain. Over there on the play for the Presidents, number 43, Stuart Wright, was in the backfield with Brown. So Brown tried to go a little laterally, and not successful this time, as he'll end up losing a yard back to the 43-yard line.
Well, that is not consistent with what they do. They're just trying to catch the Presidents in a defense that would be vulnerable to that sort of an attack. But normally what they're going to do is run that ball up the middle and off tackles, Tim.
So a loss of a yard, 2nd down and 11, as the mist starts to pick up here at Todd. And little or nothing this time either, as the footing is a little suspect in that area. I watched the first back through, who was faked to. He had trouble with his footing, and then the second man through had a little difficulty as well. So the rain is starting to become a factor once again. Our vision is a little bit blurred through the glass here as a result of that.
Well, I got my glass open, and my windows on my glasses need windshield wipers.
We need a couple of giant windshield wipers is what we need.
I need something, Tim.
So it's 3rd down as Brown got back to the original line of scrimmage. The pitch out goes to Artis on the halfback option. He throws it downfield. It's incomplete.
It was an excellent defensive play there by the Wilson Patriot. He was not fooled at all.
John Ross was the intended receiver, number 1 for the Phantoms. As he went downfield, Holloman pitched it out to Mike Artis. Artis immediately threw the ball on the run. It wasn't a bad throw. It was just a little bit tall for the intended receiver, and now the Phantoms will be looking at a 4th down and 10 at the 42.
That was Demetrius Hinton that was the defensive back on that play, Tim, and he did an excellent job of covering Hardis coming out.
Weichel will kick the ball. No contact this time. Ball takes a good Phoebus roll. It goes inside the 15, is still moving. Now finally downed at the 13. So the Presidents will have their first possession of the ball game. They'll take it at their own 13-yard line. So not great field position for Wilson. And when you have a stingy defense like the Phantoms have, this is what you want to do, of course, is get that offensive team back inside of their 20. You know, the Phantoms have a lot of talk about David Brown and his running prowess, but the defense for the Phantoms has been outstanding all year, allowing just a little more than 7 points per ball game.
And Wilson has not given up many more points than that. I think they're about 8 or 9 points a ball games what they've given up, Tim.
Man in motion to the near side. Aaron Sparrow, hands off, left side, struggling for some tough yards. 33, Eric Evans for the Presidents.
He's going to pick up anything. He's going to pick up about a yard, but that's going to be tough down there, and that's a very tough place for them to even think about passing the ball, Tim. When you've got conditions as they are out there now, slippery and that sort of thing, and then you put that ball up in the air, and of course, some of the things that can happen, 2 of them aren't any good, and that's an interception and incompletion.
Check me on that. Junius Moore was the ball carrier. He is in the backfield right now, along with number 43, Cornell Green. Check that, Stephen Wright. Pass is tipped at the line of scrimmage, goes incomplete. The intended receiver across the middle was Timmy Morris, number 24. That ball tipped at the line of scrimmage, at least it appeared to be.
Yeah, it was either that or it slipped out of his hand, Tim. I wasn't sure, but I tell you what, the coach Darnell Moore's got a lot of confidence in that freshman quarterback, Sparrow, to pass that ball back there inside. He was standing about his 10-yard line when he passed the ball that time.
6:07 remains here in the first quarter. 12-minute quarters in high school football. There will be no final tie in this game. They will play until there is a victor.
They send a man in motion again, Tim.
3rd down and 9. Inside handoff on the inside reverse. Not much happening. Again, the ball carrier was Junius Moore, and they tried a misdirection play, but the Phantoms on defense, once again, they weren't fooled. They were ready for that play.
They are a stingy defense, and that's one thing that you'll notice on the peninsula, that the teams that make it to the playoffs are those that also play good defense, Tim. You're not going to get to the playoffs only playing offense. You got to have a good defensive team out there also.
The rain's starting to become a little harder now. Standing back at the 5-yard line will be the punter. And now we've got a flag. Well, check that. Illegal procedure against the Wilson Presidents. So it's bad enough already. Now they're going to back them up 5.
Yeah, Tim, that'll even put a little more pressure on the kicker. But now we want to apologize to the fans at home watching this. If the picture becomes cloudy or spotted, it's because of the weather conditions here. But our crew does an excellent job, and they'll try to keep the lenses clean.
So the punter now standing at the 1-yard line trying to handle a slippery football. This is a big play for the Wilson Presidents. Gets a poor snap, but he gets it away. And it's fielded at the 45 and down immediately with no run back.
Well, Tim, that was because of the turf and the conditions out there, because he tried to make a cut and his foot just slipped right out from under him. Again, the ball carriers are going to be successful, those that go straight ahead and don't have to cut because of the conditions out there.
I got a dilemma myself here, Bob. I'm going to have to
just open that thing up.
You're not going to be buddies again here. There goes some, either those are the stats that just went out the window?
Somebody's stats went flying by. Okay, they got the ball. What is that on there?
At the Wilson 46. Inside. That is Bodie. Bodie picks up about 3 down inside the 43.
They slipped that time. I believe Bodie slipped that time coming down. Looks like somebody's limping coming off the field, Tim. That's number 48. That's Bodie.
Oh, my goodness, that is Bodie, and you mentioned he did hurt an ankle, so let's hope that it's not serious. That would be a big blow to the offensive team for the Phantoms. He's replaced in the lineup by Leon Garris, number 32.
Well, not only that, but they also use him on defense, Tim. He's one of the linebackers on defense.
On the option play, Holloman's got some yardage down across the 35 to the 32. So Eric Holloman calls his own number and picks up good yardage, a first down for the Phantoms.
Tim, that's a good play, but that's also a very high-risk play when you pitch that ball with the it's a high-risk offense on dry weather. So you can imagine what it would be like out there today. But that was an excellent job of keeping the ball and picking up yardage for his first down.
So Holloman gets the first down for the Phantoms. They've marked the ball at the President's 31. Deepest point of penetration so far in the ball game. This is Garris. A flag goes down as Garris gets inside the 26, close to the 25, but there is a flag in the middle of that line, and we're going to see the initial call is holding against the Phantoms. So somebody in there grabbed a hold of somebody to open that hole for Leon Garris.
Well, that's a shame. That was an excellent play.
Don't you have a little more control of the weather around here, Bob? I thought you had worked this out for us.
I did, Tim. I said I don't want it to be cold.
You forgot to cover all the bases.
Well,
that was the problem.
I didn't know that they would throw the rain on because it's not cold. It's it'll probably only get down to about 47 tonight, but it's definitely windy and wet.
It's the last time I give that job to you, I'll tell you that. All right, let's see.
Come over here and stand in front of this window, Tim. I don't care. So I get behind you and you block the the wind coming in.
So the penalty moves the ball back across the 40, between the 40 and the 41. Holloman pitches it out. David Brown trying to turn the corner, picks up maybe a yard. So the Wilson defense is defending that particular play extremely well. Over there for the Presidents, among others, was number 35. That is Ray Council. And there you see Brown coming off the field.
Tim, that was a very expensive penalty they had because they would have had a second and about 4 or 5 instead of a first and 20, and now they're second and what, about 18 it looks like.
So a pickup of a little less than 2 on the play. Phantoms at the 39 of Wilson. David Brown, left side, drags a couple of tacklers for a couple of yards. In on the stop for Wilson was Melvin Harrell, number 72, a 240-pound sophomore tackle. David Brown, of course, capturing the rushing championship on the peninsula with the last game of the season. He and Mike Stefanko had it going all year long. Stefanko ended up in second place in both the yardage gained and scoring as Brown took both of those titles. So now the Phantoms look at a third down and 17, the ball resting at the 37.
And the Presidents are back into a passing situation.
Holland wants to pass. Good defensive play as reaching in at the last moment was 24, Timmy Morris, defending on the play. A super play as that ball was thrown well and would have been a first down for the Phantoms, but the good defensive play by Morris negates that, and now the Phantoms will bring J.P. Weichel out. And Weichel will have to punt.
Well, Tim, excuse me on that. That ball was it was a well-thrown ball, but it was too high. Had it been lower, the only way he would have been able to stop him from catching the ball would have been a penalty.
Weichel, angling for the corner, does a super job. The ball goes out of bounds inside the 10, as it'll be first and 10 at the 5 for the Woodrow Wilson Presidents. So they've had excellent kicking game for Phoebus so far, and the Presidents both times on their possessions will start inside their 20, this time at the 5-yard line. So with, again, that stingy Phoebus defense, this really puts the pressure on the Presidents.
Well, it really does, and again, the only way they have been moving the ball this year, Tim, is by the pass. And of course, down here, you can't afford to have an interception this close to the opposition's goal line.
Aaron Sparrow, the quarterback, over the center at the 5-yard line. Fumble in the backfield, a miscommunication, and
that's a safety, Tim.
That's what it is. It's recovered by Wilson as Sparrow covered the ball himself, but he was inside the end zone when he was downed So now the Phantom defense causes the safety.
Well, Tim, now what's going to happen is not only they get the 2 points, but now the Wilson President's going to have to free kick. They can free kick it. They can either punt it or kick off from their own 20. So that means that the Phantoms are going to end up with excellent field position after this thing. Now you can, you're going to have to give that turnover to the weather conditions. He just wasn't able to hang on to that ball, Tim.
Well, what happened, actually, I had even a little better vision. I had my binoculars on that play. He turned around to hand the ball off to the fullback and hit him in the hip with the ball.
Okay.
So he really had the ball cleanly from center, but in the exchange, he hit the ball carrier he was trying to hand the ball to.
And normally that probably wouldn't have caused a fumble, but in this weather it's going to. But I thought he may have fumbled it from the snap.
Yeah, it was a clean snap. At 1:53 now, the Phantoms have gotten on the scoreboard first, a 2-point safety, credited to the defense as the ball carrier, or check that the quarterback, Sparrow, recovered the ball, but when he did recover it, he was on his own goal line, so the Phantoms get the ball and 2 points.
Well, he saved the team 5 more points, because had he not recovered it and the Phantoms recovered it, it would have been a touchdown for him.
Again, I remind you at home, we apologize for any blurriness you have on your screen. Looks pretty good right now, but the wind is carrying the rain and mist directly into our cameras, so we'll...
And our faces.
And our faces, that's right. All right, so we're set now for the free kick from the 20. This one's taken at the 41-yard line. This is Mike Artis across midfield, still on his feet, across the 45 and down to the 43. So the Phantoms again, good field position, this time from the 43 of Wilson. They've started from their 25 and the Wilson 46 and the Wilson 43. So they've by far had the superior field position. And on a night like this, that is so very important to your game.
And if you remember last week when we did the game with Manor, they stayed down at inside the 40, I think, every time they had the ball, except one time they were inside the 40-yard line. Hey, Tim, where's my raincoat?
There you can see the rain coming down pretty good on your picture. This is Bodie, who's back in the lineup for the Phantoms, we're happy to say, for the Phoebus faithful. So Tim Bodie came out limping moments ago. He seems, there you see him right in the middle of your screen. He seems to be doing okay. I don't notice any limp on his part. And he, as I said, he's an intricate part of the offense, although Leon Garris has done well for the Phantoms.
He most certainly has. When he needed to be in there for some reason or not, we noticed last week he will carry the ball and is an excellent runner too. But these conditions out here are just deplorable for anybody trying to run the ball, Tim.
Second down and 10, no gain. There you see Holloman wants to throw, has the ball knocked away, incomplete. Intended receiver, number 8, Petey Whitfield for the Phantoms. Just couldn't get to the football.
Well, he had about 2 or 3 people around him. I tell you what, the Presidents are dropping back a lot of people in the defensive secondary to cover the pass because they only sent out 2 people, had 1 deep, and then the short man, Petey, came across the field.
Clock stops with the incomplete pass. 47 seconds remain here in the first quarter. Phantoms on top 2-0 on the benefit of that safety. Holloman on the delay handoff, gives to Brown. Brown gets down close to the 41, 42. So now the Phantoms again unable to move the football will have to once again kick the ball. But barring any run back by the Presidents, they'll again have the Presidents pretty well backed up into their own end zone.
And we'll see if Mike Artis can put that ball out on the corner, what they call the corner coffin again. Coffin corner, I'm sorry.
Again, angling for the sidelines. Doesn't get quite the distance this time. It does go out of bounds at about the 17-yard line. So the Presidents will start from the 17. So their 3 possessions have been inside the 20. And I would think that the Phantom coaching staff would be very pleased with where they've been able to bottle up the Presidents so far.
They've done an excellent job of keeping them in their hole. They have not been out at the 20 yet from a starting position, Tim. And boy, I tell you what.
A little misty.
Misty in my foot. That's heavy rain coming down.
Yeah, it really is. And it's unfortunate that they have to play the finals in this kind of weather, but some things you just don't have control of. Sparrow spins, hands off, right side, good yardage across the 20 to about the 24. Carrying the ball was 43, Stuart Wright for the Wilson Presidents, and that should be and is the last play of the first quarter. So after one quarter, the Phantoms of Phoebus lead by the safety 2-0. And I understand we do, in fact, have our roving reporter down on the sidelines wearing probably galoshes and a wetsuit tonight.
Well, if he doesn't, he should be. Let's go on down to A.G. Wumble.
Let's see who A.G.'s got with him tonight. Well, let's see. Maybe A.G. isn't quite ready yet. Under these conditions, we can understand having some difficulty lining up an interview.
And nobody want to talk to him.
Let's see. A.G., are you there?
All right, with Tim Bob, we got Ellis Boyd here, injured Phantom. Ellis, what about the first quarter here? What are your thoughts on the game?
I think it's a hard hitting first quarter. And
Phoebus, is this Phoebus weather?
yes, it is.
All right, when are you going to be back on your feet here?
My cast comes off Wednesday. I should be able to walk around Thursday.
You out for the season?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good luck to you, Ellis, and you're going to be back next year?
Yes, I am.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, Tim Bob, now back to you. Hopefully it's dry up there, Tim Bob.
Well, it's not quite, A.G. We're semi-dry as the wind has been shifting around and blowing the rain in our face, but we're a lot drier than you appear to be. Although you've got all your rain gear on, you look like you're in good shape. This is Wright going off the right side. What did A.G. have underneath that semi-transparent rain suit? Did I say Cowboys on it? He must have gotten that when he was down in Dallas a couple
Well,
of weeks
remember I
ago.
told you that we missed him 1 week during the regular season, that he was down doing some scouting for the Cowboys, I think.
Ball is marked at the 26-yard line.
I don't think anybody's going to jump on him that's got a redskin on tonight. They say that's crazy Cowboys out in this weather.
3rd down and 1. The Presidents looking for their first down. Right side, right again. He's got the first down as he gets out close to the 30-yard line.
Well, that first down, you can credit that to the offensive line. They got a good offensive surge, and they actually pushed the Phoebus Phantoms back. He picked up more than an ample yardage on that. But that was a good job with that offensive line at the point of contact.
You know, you talk about offensive lines. Let's give credit to that Phoebus offensive line. They controlled the line of scrimmage last week against Manor just tremendously. Manor was taken out of that game early as they blew them away with 3 first-quarter touchdowns, Phoebus did, and Manor never recovered.
They were just awesome last week.
All right, the Presidents with a first down. This is again Wright trying to go around the right end, and the entire line crew wiped out on that play.
One of them is still running.
As about 3 or 4 Phoebus tacklers took Stuart Wright and just wrestled him out of bounds. Wright is a big boy, a sophomore, 6'1", 205-pounder. You got to be big on this kind of field. I guess that's your advantage if you're a heavy person. If you're
right, and you don't have to be fast. You just got to be heavy. Got to have a lot of weight on you and be able to get some good traction. And that's Tim. It looks like this is a whole lot worse than it was last night. We saw a lot of mist coming down last night, but it seems to be worse out there tonight, and that's a shame because the field is even soaked from what happened on last night on here.
Yeah, we got flags down, Bob. It looks like some early motion on the Wilson President's side of the field. That's the initial indication, illegal motion. You're right, though, and again, we credit Wayne Begore and his staff here at Todd Stadium for the field being in as good a condition as it could possibly be under these conditions. But you're right, we're not talking mist here, we're talking downpour.
Yeah, and the wind is blowing it, and it looks like sheets of rain just going across. Now that really hurts the Presidents. They had a 2nd and 8, now they got a 2nd and 13 or 14. And that really puts pressure on your young quarterback. When you got a freshman quarterback out there, he's going to make some freshman mistakes that he won't make a couple years down the road.
He's a good one, though. 920 yards in the regular season passing. This time, good opener as the Presidents get back that yardage they had lost and then some, out across the 35 to about the 37.
I believe what happened that time, Tim, was that Phoebus Phantom defense was in a stunt. And, boy, they called the perfect play for it because he shot through that line of scrimmage. Nobody hit him until he was 4, 5, 6 yards down the field.
Stuart Wright doing the entire ball carrying for the Presidents right now. Now they're looking at a 3rd down and about 2, so a big 3rd down for the Presidents as they look to try and control this football. A little more than 10 minutes remaining in a half. Phoebus is coming, and they're there. They have read that play right from the beginning. In on the play for the Phantoms, number 67, Tim Williams, was in the backfield with the handoff.
Now he's the nose guard, Tim, so that means he's lining up over the nose, over the nose of the center, and what he did is evidently shot the gap, but he was in the backfield, and they actually lost a couple 3 yards on that play. So that brings up a punting situation, and now they're punting into the wind. So we'll see what kind of a punter they've got into the wind, Tim.
Demetrius Hinton will be the punter, standing back at his 22. And we have an officials timeout. So we got an equipment problem, it appears. There you see on your screen, they're adjusting the straps, apparently, on one of the Wilson President's helmets. Of course, the foremost concern of the officials in this game at all times is the safety of the players.
And that was George Adamowski out there doing his job.
I understand we got some halftime entertainment for the folks coming up, and we'll get to that in just a moment as it's 4th down and long.
Oh,
good
nice
kick by
kick.
Hinton. Mike Artis is going to have to fall on that football. He does so at the 21, so the Phantoms will have their worst field position as they'll start from their 21. Mike Artis was not quite ready for that punt to be quite that strong.
That was an excellent job. The Phantom coaching staff didn't figure that their kicking game was very strong. At halftime, it looks like the AG is going to talk to David Brown's father. Phyllis Henry is the assistant principal at the Phoebus High School. I know Phyllis real well, and Dr. Don Musselman is out in this weather.
Sure he is. He's always out at these games. Don Musselman, the superintendent, is always present for these games.
Whatever.
So the Phantoms now from the 21-yard line, leading 2-0. Fake to Brown. Holloman rolls to the left, looking for some running room. Nothing happening. He loses control of the football, it appears. And he covers it himself. So Holloman went around the left end after faking to Brown. There you see the dismal conditions on the ground here. That just a quagmire in front of the Phoebus bench.
I'll tell you, the field is in excellent condition with the weather and the water they've had that's come down on it, Tim. But they can't go laterally. Now, you notice when the success that you're having with the runners, the Presidents went straight ahead, and I believe that's what the Phantom's going to have to do. They're going to have to go straight ahead. They're not going to be able to go laterally because you can't make your cuts.
Holloman keeps again, left side on the option play. Got 2 yards last time. Looks like he picks up about 3 or 4 more.
Call me a liar, Tim.
Well, you know, you can do it every once in a while, but you have to consider what the percentages are.
Yeah, because if he has to make a quick cut, the footing out there is just real dismal. And I don't know what kind of foot gear these people have on, but normally they don't have the heavy, big, thick cleats that you need to really grab a hold of the turf.
Ball marked at the 28-yard line, so it's 3rd down and 3 for the Phantoms. Need to get to the 31. Holloman keeps on the quarterback keeper. Looks like he's got the first down. But we have a flag against the Phantoms, and it's going to be a holding call. So
ooh, boy, that hurts.
That's going to hurt because they had the first down by 2 yards. They got all the way out to the 33 on the quarterback keeper. But now we're going to look at a 3rd down and long situation for the Phantoms. That changes the whole complexion of that play.
Tim, I don't know if I don't believe the Patriots have been had a penalty tonight, except what was a delay of game they had and a movement. But that's a second holding penalty against the Phoebus Phantoms, and that's a big one because that takes them way back, and now they got a 9-yard to go for first down, where they had a first down from the 34.
As you said, Bob, 3rd down and 9 from the 22. Holloman fakes to Garris, has to keep it. Looked like a busted play there. He did appear to want to hand the ball to Garris, and Garris maybe not as familiar with the backfield duties as he might be, having not being a regular player per se versus Bodie.
Well, that's no excuse, Tim. They know the plays. They run them enough on first and second teams that he should know what to do. That was just a miscommunication. Somebody just missed an assignment that time.
Assuming that was the call, of course. I'm only speculating that it was, in fact, to be a handoff. at the 10-yard line. Weichel gets pressure, gets it away. It's not a long kick. It's into the wind, and it bounds around and falls dead at the 49-yard line of Phoebus. So the Wilson Presidents now will have good field position for the first time tonight, as their points of start here in the first half have been their 13, their 5, and their 17. And now the turn of events, the penalties, those mistakes hurt you every time. Drives the coach crazy.
It really does. And when they come at an inopportune time, when you have picked up a first down and you got a drive going, and hopefully you get the ball, you get some momentum going with your team, and then you turn it back over. Now the other team has got the best field position they've had all night.
Ball just across the 49 of Phoebus. Sparrow fakes, wants to throw, has a man deep, and it's caught at the 25-yard line, all the way down to the 22. So the Presidents have something working.
Tim, he threw that ball with a lot of authority. He doesn't look like a freshman throwing that ball. He rolled out and really did a good job of throwing that ball. 920
yards on the regular season. Cordell Green, number 42, was the man on the receiving end of that pass. And now the Wilson Presidents have it at the 22 of Phoebus. On the field of play, both teams 10-1, but a couple of forfeits for Wilson changed their record to 8-3. The Phantoms had one of like that, so they're 9-2. This is right side across the 15, and still driving down close to the 11.
Well, Tim, you notice what happens when you throw a pass, that loosens that defense up a little bit, and he has very good success running that same play off the right side, which is against the left side of the Phoebus Phantoms defense.
So Stewart Wright picks up 9, and my gracious, don't you love to have a 2nd and 1? That gives you all kinds of things you can do.
Well, the Phantoms are going to take a timeout. Coach Bill D is going to go out there and talk to his team and try to make some adjustments on the field to stop this fine drive, because they started at the 49, Tim, and they're all the way down now inside the 15-yard line. That's a tremendous drive.
We want to, of course, make you aware of the fact that this game is airing on Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. The Hampton game with their Friday night opponents, the name of the team has escaped me. Kempsville, thank you. The Kempsville-Hampton game is airing Monday and Wednesday at 9. So if you missed that game for some reason, and it's still an opportunity for you, they're also going to play the game Friday morning at 9 a.m., I understand.
Yeah. It's,
one
of them is going to be Thursday morning at 9 a.m., and the other one's at 9 a.m. on Friday morning.
But Monday and Wednesday, the Hampton-Kempsville game. This game Tuesday and Thursday, 9 p.m. on Channel 29. So a timeout called by Bill D., the head coach of Phoebus. An important timeout, as the Phantoms are kind of on their heels here. The Wilson Presidents connected on that pass play and then came back with a 9-yard run by Stewart Wright. And they are threatening at the 13-yard line of Phoebus. Sparrow keeps the football, and he is dragged down for a loss.
Tim, if he would have handed that ball off to the first man through, he would have picked up the first down. I was very surprised he kept the ball. It looked like to me that the man was open, but he's got to go with what the coaches call.
Looked like Kerry Brown in on the stop for the Phantoms. Either that or Jerry Dysick. It was hard to pick up the number on the player, but nonetheless a good defensive play by the Phantoms. As they slow down the Wilson attack, they move the ball back to the 15, where it's 3rd down and 3. They have to get to the 12 for the first down. That's right, left side down to the 14, so it's going to be close to a first down, and now you have your first big play of the ball game.
And they may come in with a field goal, Tim, and it looks like they're sending in about 5 brand new players, which may be an indication of the field goal. I don't know what success their field goal kicker has had, but field goal will put them ahead by 1.
So leading 2-0 with 4:19, the clock moving here in the first half. Now the clock stops as Phoebus will once again call a timeout. So excuse me, go ahead, Bob.
I see Coach Bill D on the sideline. He started to walk out, and he stopped, come back, and put on the headphone. I know he's talking to the coaches up here, trying to find out some weaknesses that they can take advantage of on this next play. Now the Presidents are sending in some more people, so they may have decided not to kick the field goal. I don't know, because I don't know who their field goal kicker is. If he's the same one or not, I don't have him on my roster, so I don't know.
Well, a little game of chess being played here on the big field as the coaches are trying to anticipate what the other coach might be defending with or what they want to try and do offensively. It did appear that we might see a field goal attempt by the Presidents. Now we're not so sure. The clock has stopped with 4:19 to go here in the first half.
Well, the conditions that are dictating out here, Tim, that this is probably will be a low-scoring game. I don't look for anybody to score a lot of points like we saw the Phantoms do last week and what we saw Hampton do last night. Of course, I've been known to say that and been proved a liar very quick, too. But
you just can't tell in this type of game. You never know. You know, by the way, while we have a moment, I want to take our congratulations out to the Tab High School Tigers as they defeated Charlottesville 30-8 Saturday afternoon, and Terry Kirby had not one, not two, but 301 yards rushing on a wet field, obviously.
That puts him over 5,000 for the year, Tim, and he's got another year to play.
So our congratulations to Terry Kirby and the Tab Tigers. Inside, Wright gets the handoff. It's going to be real close. I don't think he got it.
Well, it depends again on the mark, but it's very close.
They need to get to the 12-yard line.
Well, that's what it looks like. He spotted it at about the 13, so I can't tell from this vantage point. It depends on where he puts the ball down.
So they're going to check this mark very carefully. They may very well bring the chains across. I don't think he got it. I don't think there's much question that he is short.
Jim Fay is calling timeout to measure that. That's the, looks like it's about 6-8 inches short is what he's saying, Tim. George Adamowski is the official that is pulling the chain out.
Oh yeah, it's not even close.
Yeah, it's a good 2 feet anyway, isn't it?
So that's got to be a big boost for the Phantoms as their defense came up when it had to stop the President's drive. It came up about 1.5 feet, 2 feet shy of the first down. And now the Phantoms will take over. Bad field position, but boy, they'll take this.
I tell you, Tim, what really happened on that is the Wilson coach outthought himself because he was ready to kick the field goal. Bill D called a timeout, and he changed his mind. And I think he may have taken 3 points off the board that he could have had if he had a good field goal kicker.
Right up the middle, there goes Bodie. Tom Bodie across the 40 to about the 42. So
wow, what a run, Tim.
Instantly get out of trouble.
Well, you talk about getting them out of their end zone. That was what you need. That's that quick hitter that I was talking about straight ahead. Bodie hasn't got real good speed, but he showed he can run pretty fast, even in the conditions, because we saw him come limping off the field, not 10, 15 minutes ago.
Bodie is a junior, 5'11", 200-pounder. He moved real well that time, 210-pounder actually. And he got breathing room and then some as the Phantoms have it all the way out to the 43. This is David Brown. He tries the left side. He picks up maybe 2 or 3 yards. So the Phantoms now get new life as the defense comes up big, and now the offense starts to move the football. 3:25, the clock moving here in the first half, and the only score has been a safety at 1:53 of the first quarter.
Tim, how many times have we seen a defense do something out there that's outstanding and it fires up your offense? We've seen that done many times this year. Of course, we know there's a lot of players on both teams that go both ways, and there goes Bodie again. He has really got what he wants to do now. He's just keeping his feet low to the ground and just pumping those legs.
Bodie crosses the midfield stripe, and they've got it all the way down to the 47 of Wilson.
Tim, it's eased up a little bit too. I don't see the rain coming down as hard as it was, which doesn't bother me at all. And I know AG's down there saying, "Thank you, Lord, thank you."
Well, it's not as bad, but unfortunately, you can't count on anything. So you got to make hay while the sun shines, so to speak. And Brown spins off the right side, gets close to the 46.
Well, Brown has not got a clean handoff or a clean pop through the line of scrimmage yet, Tim. And I looked, if we could see him do, we got a hurt player down on the field. It looks like one of the looks like number 12 for the Wilson Patriots.
That's
Wilson
Hayes,
Presidents.
Sophomore linebacker, Winchus Hayes. So hopefully he's going to be all right. He is writhing in some pain down there, and that will cause a timeout by the officials, stopping the clock with 2:28 to go in the first half. Phoebus Phantoms have been at this point in their season before. Last year they got this far only to lose to the Warwick High School team.
That's right. They lost to the Raiders last year, and then the Raiders end up losing in the championship game. But the Peninsula District has sent many teams in the last 2 years into the playoffs. Last year we had three teams from the Peninsula District, the Crabbers, the Phantoms, and the Warwick Raiders. This year we had three, the Kickingham Warriors, the Hampton Crabbers, and the Phoebus Phantoms. So that says a lot for the Peninsula District, and especially when two teams end up in the finals, as they did last year.
So Hayes is able to come off on his own. He appears to be okay. We're happy to see that, of course. They've marked the ball at the 46. Gain of 1 yard for David Brown. And it's second down and 9. Bodie behind Holloman. Fake to Bodie. Holloman keeps, and he'll get maybe a yard at best.
Tim, he was slipping in the slide as he come around there. His footing is just not very good at all, and that's what I look for him to do more straight ahead than trying to go laterally, because you just can't get a good footing. You can't make that quick cut when there is an opening, and that's what you do on that veer offense.
Kevin Lathan made the stop for the Presidents, and the Phantoms now have called yet another timeout to preserve as much time as they can.
Well, Tim, that is their final timeout. That is the third timeout they have called this half. But the second one was very, very instrumental, because what that did is got the coach over on the other side to change his mind on what kind of a play to call. That's Darnell Moore, the head coach over there. But you got to take a hat off to the Phoebus defense. They did an excellent job when they had their backs down at the goal line.
You know, I got this chance here while we got a moment. I want to remind everybody, of course, that 1988 is fast approaching, and with that year comes a very important time in America, the election of our next president. If you're not registered to vote, sign up soon. You can get an official information on voting at the Hampton Registrar's office, located at 101 Kingsway Mall. You can call them Monday through Friday at 727-6218. Get involved in decision-making progress of your local and national government. So be sure you register to vote with the 88 elections coming up in the very near future.
Well, not only register, Tim, then they need to go out and vote.
Amen. 2-0. Phoebus on top, trying to win the Eastern Regional Final of Division 5 Group AAA. Jeff Holloman is the signal caller for the Phantoms. He's got Bodie and Brown behind him. Fakes to Bodie, wants to throw. He's got Mike Artis open across the 35, and Artis struggles to the 29. A good effort on the part of Mike Artis, not only to catch the ball, but then he picked up 5 or 6 yards after he caught it.
And that was a gutsy call, because I know they were looking for him to come straight ahead. They were not looking for him to pass, but the coaches have told me all year that they're not afraid to let Jeff Holloman pass the ball. But why pass it when you're running? Game does as well as theirs has all year, but nothing will loosen up a defense any quicker than you get a pass completion and look for a quick opening here and maybe a long run.
Minute 35, clock moving. Again, the fake, and Holloman wrapped up very nicely by the Woodrow Wilson Presidents. In on the stop for the Presidents, number 7, again, the ever-present Kevin Lathan.
Well, I'm not trying to second-guess the coaching staff at all, Tim, but they have not had very good success. Maybe 2 out of the 8 or 9 plays that they have run the option on have they had any success.
Quick huddle by the Phantoms, and this time it's more or less thrown away, as Artis was in the general area of the pass, but Jeff Holloman was just simply trying to stop the clock. If he had a man open, he was going to throw it, and if he didn't, he was just going to kind of throw it away. So the Phantoms do, in fact, achieve the stopping of the clock. 1 minute and 2 seconds remains. They've got a third down now, 3rd down and 14. They've got to get all the way to the 20 of the Wilson Presidents in order to get the first down.
And that'll stop the clock, because they have no more timeouts. But I know what they would like to do is at least get this ball down a little closer and at least attempt a field goal before they go in, because time is running out. There's only 1 minute and 2 to go, as you had alluded to. But they're going to put the ball in the air for sure. Watch them run it, Tim.
Holloman fakes, pitches out, got the dipsy doodle going. He's got a halfback option pass. He's looking down there. Artis throws the ball in the end zone, and it's caught. It's caught at the 2-yard line. It's a touchdown!
Oh, wow, but that was almost like a Hail Mary play.
Hold everything, though. We got a flag down.
But it's an illegal receiver downfield, Tim.
Well, we'll wait and see, but unfortunately for the Phantoms, it's going to wipe that out.
That's exactly what he's calling.
Oh, so many times that's what happens. That play took such a long time to develop that it's got to be tempting for one of those linemen to sneak across down there to throw a block, and apparently that's what happened as the Phantoms pull the halfback option. Mike Artis throw the ball up for grabs at the 1 yard line, and then it was caught and taken into the end zone. But
Who caught the ball, Tim?
I tried to make it. I think it was Petey Whitfield, but
That's
I
what it looked like
to
to me, but I couldn't swear to it either.
On top of insult to injury, it's a loss of down. So now it's 4th down and 4th down and 19 as they've marked the ball at the 39. Again, they have to get to the 20. So we're going to see Weichel come on for the Phantoms as they won't go for it, and Weichel will obviously try and put Wilson back deep. Mike Artis, I see him coming off to the near sideline, disgustedly walking to the bench. He did a good job of throwing that ball. Weichel handles it, gets it away. It's a low kick. No one back for the Presidents as they elect to let the ball go dead at the 11-yard line, and that's where the Phantoms actually touch the ball. So the Presidents will have 42 seconds in which to work.
Thought we had a real wild way to end up the half there on that pass completion, Tim, but it went for naught. Again, you said it. It just took too long for that play to develop, and one of the linemen went downfield, evidently. Of course, you couldn't prove that by the stands on this side. They were doing some booing. They didn't like that call at all.
So Wilson, as you can see, in more or less a defensive-offensive formation, knowing that Phoebus has no more timeouts, they simply fall on the football after the snap from center. So they'll elect to go in at halftime trailing 2-0, and certainly anyone's ball game at this point. So the Presidents now, 5 seconds, the clock moving. That will be the last play of the first half. And it's been a hard-fought first half, and the Phoebus Phantoms, on the strength of a safety at 1:53 of the first quarter, lead at halftime by the scant score of 2-0. 2's better than nothing at this point. It could be the final score.
That could very well be true. And
wouldn't that be an oddity when you consider that there were forfeits during the season, which both
a championship team.
All right, Bob, Tim Cole, Bob Hintz, and A.G. Womble back at Todd Stadium as halftime is upon us. The only score, that's safety by the Phantoms at 1:53 of the first quarter. And we're going to go down now to the sidelines, and A.G. Womble is going to have Phyllis Henry, the assistant principal of Phoebus. So take it away, A.G.
All right, Tim, Bob, we got Phyllis Henry, the assistant principal of Phoebus, who's been a big supporter of the Phantoms all year. Phyllis, your thoughts on this first half?
Oh, I'd be a lot happier if it was 9-0 right now. It's a shame that didn't count.
We could have used that touchdown.
Sure could have.
All right, what about the second half, Phyllis? What do you envision?
Oh, I think we'll go all the way. I have great confidence in these guys. Of course, I'm like some of the underclassmen. I'm used to, as long as I've been at Phoebus, we've been winning. It's a real treat for the people who had to suffer through the lean years to see Phoebus been winning this time.
Okay, do you think this team can go all the way?
Yes, I think so. Bill D does a great job. They're a fine group of young men. They try. The thing that makes me proud of them is they try so well at school as well. Academics are important to them. They're tough players all the way. I think we're going to win it.
Okay, Phyllis, thanks a lot. Good luck to you the rest of the year. All right, and we also have Mr. David Brown's father. Come on over here, Mr. Bob Brown. Robert Brown. How you doing? Come on over here. Either way. Okay. All right, Tim, Bob, we got the father of the Peninsula District Russian champion, David Brown. And Bob, your thoughts on this first half, first of all?
Well, certainly, not Manor, but Wilson certainly came to play, and it's not going to be an easy job like it was last week for Phoebus.
All right, how many yards has David got so far? I haven't been keeping
I don't know, probably 20 or less,
okay.
I believe.
All right, this type weather, do you think it favors the Phantoms?
I would think so. I had read that Wilson is a passing team, and I would think that this type weather would favor the running team over the passing team.
All right, David, what schools is he looking towards after high school?
Well, the two that I think are tops on this list are William & Mary and UVA.
Okay. Well, Mr. Brown, appreciate you coming down here. I know you have to be proud of David's efforts this year, and the Hammond School Division certainly is proud of his efforts, and he's a fine young man.
Yes, we certainly are, and just as proud. We're just as proud of his academic achievements.
Oh yeah, he's what's he like? Three.
He's about a 3.5, a 3.6.
Fantastic. Okay, thanks a lot, Mr. Brown.
Sure.
All right, Tim, Bob, now back up to you for a minute.
Okay, AG, thank you very much. We appreciate that, and good point, Bob. We forget at times when we talk to these football players and their parents and so forth, that these boys not only excel on the field, but they excel off the field as well.
Well, you could bet your life when he's talking to Bob Brown, he was talking about his son having a 3.6, 3.7 average. That is excellent. And of course, the two schools that he's gone top of his list, William & Mary's got real high standards, and so does UVA. He'd be an excellent ball player with each one of those teams because he could go in and play either defense or offense. He does a good job of both with the Phantoms playing both ways, but he's been held in check tonight. The one who's been getting through and picking up yardage has been Tom Bodie, but that is an excellent point that you made out, that these people not only have to put 3 or 4 hours in practicing and looking at films, and then they got to go home and do the homework too.
It's a tough situation for all of them. We're at halftime. The Phoebus Phantoms lead 2-0. We'll be back with more halftime activities and the second half right after this brief timeout.
Every tooth in a man's head is more valuable to him than a diamond. Cervantes wrote that in Don Quixote nearly 4 centuries ago. It was common then for people to lose their teeth as they grew older. Fortunately, dentistry has come a long way. Today, with proper care, your teeth should last as long as you do. All it takes is a healthy diet, daily brushing and flossing, and regular visits to your dentist. More valuable than a diamond. Something to think about.
Tim Cole, Bob Hintz, and A.G. Womble back at Todd Stadium as halftime activities are winding down. The Phoebus Phantoms and the Woodrow Wilson Presidents are on the field. And we have your halftime statistics for you. Phoebus had 6 first downs, Wilson 3. 22 carries for the Phantoms, 85 yards total. 14 carries for 32 yards for the Wilson Presidents. Passing department, very little passing. Only 1 completion out of 2 attempts for Phoebus for 28 yards. On the other side of the coin, Wilson 1 of 5 pass completions for 16 yards. Total yardage in the first half, Phoebus 113, 48 yards for the Presidents. 5 punts for J.P. Weichel, averaging 27.6, real good under the conditions, the wind and the rain and everything. That's a fine kicking game. Wilson having a little more success, 2 punts for an average of 38.5. No return yardage for either team, no fumbles lost. You know, Bob, that's a big factor when you consider this wet weather.
Yeah, well, there was a fumble that caused the daggone 2 points, but it was not a lost fumble.
But in essence, it was a loss of sorts because Phoebus was the benefit of the safety, and that's the only score we've got at halftime. Third down conversions, you know, Phoebus has controlled the ball quite well here in the ball game, but they are only 1 for 9 in third down conversions, while Wilson is 1 out of 4 in third down conversions. Time of possession, oddly enough, Phoebus 15.44 seconds, 15 minutes 44 seconds, only 8 minutes and 16 seconds for Wilson. So Phoebus has dominated the game in time of possession and doubled the yardage, but we have only one little score, 2-0.
Well, Phoebus will receive again to start the second half because, you know, they deferred till the second half and they've got the ball again. While we got this a minute before the kickoff, Tim, we do want to make a correction. A.G. Womble does not have any Cowboy shirt on underneath that rain gear. In fact, it says big and bold Phoebus, and he's got a big Phoebus P on his hat, and would like to also take this time to let everybody know that you see AG, you pat him on the back. He's doing an excellent job. Young man took a dive off his roof today and bruised himself up, but he says, you know, the show must go on, and he's down there doing interviews, and we sure appreciate his effort down there on the field.
I heard it was a 2.9 degree of difficulty, inward tuck 2.5 off the roof. We're sure glad AG is all right. He's banged up pretty bad, got a couple of scrapes and scratches. His eye broke his glasses and bruised himself up, but he's out here like the trooper he is, so we appreciate him being out here tonight. 24 minutes of football remain. The Wilson Presidents do have to kick off to start the second half, and a flag goes down instantly. The Presidents will be backed up 5 yards as on the kickoff they were offsides.
Well, that's one thing that will hurt you right off the bat. You're kicking into a wind, and that was a short kick. It was caught at about the 20, 25-yard line, and then you turn around and have to kick it off again because of an over-anxious ball player. But that kind of a penalty you don't mind too much because that's aggressiveness, and you want your kids to be out there to be aggressive. But those holding penalties and that illegal man receiver downfield, that really hurts you because that took points off the board.
So they'll back it up 5 yards, and Demetrius Hinton will kick off from the 35. Back deep for the Phantoms. The ever-present Mike Artis, number 10, standing at his 20 along with a couple of other players on either side of him. This is taken at the 27, a 40, 45. So the Phantoms will have good field position. And the ball carrier for the Phantoms, there you see him coming off the field, number 9, Maurice Turner, gets good field position for the Phantoms. So he returned that ball from about the 21 all the way out to the 46. Phantoms will start from their 46. They had good field position for the best part of the first half.
Well, they did, except when they started down there at their own goal line, Tim. Well, they did a good job of stopping the Presidents.
46-yard line, the point of line of scrimmage. David Brown carries the football out to about the 48.
Tim, I noticed that time that the defense is shooting the gaps, and this is one thing that Coach Mike Townlend was telling me about that they will do. They'll line up in a 5-man front and will shoot into the gaps, trying to disrupt the blocking assignments of the offensive line. They did stop the Phoebus Phantoms. Didn't pick up it a couple yards that time, but I look for Brown to break loose here in a minute, and when he does, he's going to be hard to catch because he is very fast.
Fumble on the exchange. It appears that Holloman covered his own fumble, so that will hurt Phoebus.
That's the first time we've seen that tonight. Now, we have seen fumbles where they've attempted to hand off and they've hit it on their hips or something like that, but that's the first time we've seen the exchange from center, which is usually pretty good, to be in effect.
I turned around and our camera lady behind me here is taking a break while Dr. Stills mans the camera, and she appeared all of a sudden to be about 6'7", standing on a stool. This is Brown trying to turn the corner, not much happening as he gets across midfield, and he's driven out of bounds at the Wilson 49-yard line. So that'll bring up a 4th down for the Phantoms. They need to get to the 44 for the first down. It'll be 4th down and 5. So J.P. Weichel, who averaged about 28 yards a kick in the first half, will have the wind to his back if that's in fact the way it's blowing now. It's changed around several times during the game.
It really has, Tim, and also what he's got to watch out for is the snap from center, that he handles it well.
Gets it away, almost blocked, but it is cleanly kicked. It takes a Wilson bounce, and it'll be touched at the Wilson 28-yard line, and that's where Wilson will start this particular possession. They started from their 13, their 5, their 17, then the Phoebus 49, then their own 11, and now they're 28. So they haven't had great field position. When they did, in fact, start from the Phoebus 49, or 49 rather, they got down to a 4th down and 2 situation inside the 15, and the Phoebus defense held late in the second quarter, so that is a big play. The Phantom defense has kept Wilson off the boards. They've marked it at the 28, 1st and 10 for Woodrow Wilson. Left side handoff for maybe a yard.
He's marking it just short of the 30, Tim, but both teams are coming out and not trying to do anything fancy and just trying to move the ball straight ahead. And that's what you got to do in this with the field conditions as they are out there.
Junius Moore, number 32, was the ball carrier for the Presidents. Picked up a yard, 2nd and 9. Aaron Sparrow, the quarterback, the freshman, will want to pass. Throws it on the right side. Got a man open, and he's got it at the 45. Taken out of bounds and finally stopped at the 35. But a super pass as they simply went on a fly pattern down the sidelines.
That's about a 36-yard completion, Tim. 36, 35, 36 yards. He just threw that ball to a spot, and the wide receiver just ran under it. That was an excellent, excellent touch on the ball, and that really puts the pressure on the Phoebus defense. They're not going to be able to allow him to sit back up and drop back and set up like he just did.
So big first down at the 34 of Phoebus. Wilson comes out passing. This time they throw it right into the hands of Mike Artis. And Artis will be wrestled out of bounds at the 46. But the ball will go over to the Phantoms.
Boy, he just threw that ball right to Mike Artis. There was there was a ball player in the area, but I mean it wasn't even close to the intended receiver. And when he tackled Mike, I don't know if you can see it down there. Mike is just...
There you see him. He is drenched.
He went through the mud and water on the side.
And he could care less right now because he's probably just tickling. There you see him taking his helmet off. He's going to need a couple of towels. But nonetheless, the Phantoms have got it at the Wilson 46. So again, the defense comes up big. This is Tom Bodie. He's wrestled down at the 40, so a pickup of about 6 for the Phantoms.
Well, Tom Bodie will be real instrumental in this drive, Tim. He's the young man that's going to pick up the hard, necessary yardage. And then if they can fake to him and get the ball to Brown on a quick hitter, we're going to see Mr. Brown with the ball. But I don't look for him to put the ball in the air. They're going to have to keep the ball on the ground and just grind this thing out, get down and get another score.
Second down and a long 3 as a pickup of a little more than 6 for Bodie. Bodie and Brown are the backfield. Again, a fumble on the exchange. We'll wait and see who recovered the ball. That's the second time here. It looks like Phoebus will retain possession. But 2 very close calls now where the Phantoms have had trouble on the exchange from center. And actually a slight gain on the play as they've marked it inside the 39.
Tim Williams was the man that looked like he came up with that loose ball, Tim. He's plays nose guard and plays offensive guard. But that really hurt you. You picked up good yardage, and now you've lost a couple because of that play. But you got to make that exchange from the center. The quarterback's got to be good.
Third down and 3. And Brown not going to get the first down at the 40-yard line. He is met and driven back. The Wilson Presidents, Tommy Perot, number 66, was right there, and David Brown will come up well shy of the first down. And we'll look and see. I believe the Phantoms will bring on the kicking team.
Look, Coach Bill D on the sideline there is yelling at him about something. Tim, they look like they're really keying on Brown. The linebackers are going where Brown goes. If that's the case, then what you need to do is fake it to Brown and, let him be a decoy.
J.P. Weichel will stand back at his 46. Oh, a terrible snap. And this is going to be big trouble for the Phantoms. Weichel being roughed up a bit at the 40, but the Presidents are going to have great field position as a horrible snap from center. I have to wonder, and I certainly don't want to malign anybody, but I wonder if we have a different center at the start of the second half.
Well, Tim, don't know about that, but that almost looked like it was going to be centered to the short man, like it was going to be a fake punt, but that gives the Wilson team a ball back on the 39-yard line of the Phantoms.
So again, the Phoebus defense will be called upon. Bad situation for the Phantoms. This is Wright, and a flag goes down as Wright picks up maybe a yard.
That's excellent camera work, Tim. Our crew is just doing a great job out here tonight, even with the conditions the way they are.
Holding against the Wilson Presidents, so Phoebus will benefit by that, a 10-yard mark-off against the Presidents. Both teams making a lot of errors, both on the field and mental errors right now.
Cut away.
Well, the field must be getting worse because we have seen really some bad exchanges on center and a bad snap by the Phantom center.
I'll tell you one thing that has gotten superb is our camera work. Our camera people have done a great job in this game as well as others throughout the season. So our hats off to them. They're right on top of this play. First and 20 now for the Presidents. Sparrow in the flat, nothing happening as it appeared the intended receiver, Demetrius Hinton, was complaining to the official that he might have been held up in the line of scrimmage.
Well, number 88, Jonathan Wilson, was defending on a play over there, and you can hit the man. But I think what he was saying is Ryan was hit while the ball was in the air. Well, you can't hit a man when the ball's in the air, Tim.
Saw a shot of the far side of the field and the Wilson team. You see the officials doing their good job. You know,
that's George Adamowski, the number 90 there. He's trying to keep the ball dry for the players out there.
These poor zebras are out here, and they're out in this rain and cold all the time. Sparrow wants to throw. It's picked off over the middle again.
David Brown picked that one off, Tim. No, check that in. 54.
54 for the Phantoms is Kirk Merck.
He just dropped back in the flat, and that's his area to cover on a passing situation, and did a good job of picking off that pass. Now, if Phoebus can get something going, and I think what they're going to have to do, Tim, is use David Brown as a decoy, get that ball to Bodie. Bodie has been picking up good yards straight up the middle.
Burke, a junior, 6'2", 185-pounder, comes up with the interception, so the Phantoms now start from the 39. Holloman on the option, turns it inside, is wrestled down after he gets to about the 42, 43. Pickup of maybe 3. You see the coaching staff on the sidelines for the Phantoms. The play coming in from the sidelines in the form of number 64. That's Jeffrey Lawrence of Phoebus. So the Phantoms pick up about 4 as the forward progress is marked at the 43. 2-0 our score. 5 minutes and 12 seconds remains in the third quarter. And this is Bodie. Bodie racing for the far side. He hasn't got the speed to go all the way, but he certainly gets big yardage inside the 30.
That was an excellent call because the defensive linebackers were shooting the gap on the opposite side. He went through. There was nobody back there but the defensive backs, and they weren't even looking for him. So that was an excellent call against that particular defense, Tim.
The right play at the right time works for Phantoms. They are down inside the 30 at the Wilson 27-yard line. 4:50 remains in the third quarter. Just 2 points has been scored in this ball game. That was a safety at 1:53 of the first quarter as Sparrow was tackled in the end zone after a mishandling of the football. David Brown slants off the left side across the 30, rather across the 25 down to close to the 24.
Well, they're sure keying on him, Tim. You can see every time he gets the ball there, looks like to me that the linebackers are keying on him, that where he goes, they go. And if that's the case, then the coaching staff's got to pick that up and get that ball to Bodie's hand. As we've seen, Bodie is going to end up with a lot of yardage tonight because of the defense keying on David Brown, which they would do because he is an excellent runner.
Pick up a 4, 2nd and 6. Right up the middle go the Phantoms. This is Tom Bodie getting the call again. Clock continues to move. This game, of course, up for grabs, and you have to reflect back to the first half when Wilson had a chance, or at least considered, going for the field goal on a 4th down and 2, and then after a time we have a player down for the Presidents. But to continue that thought, the Wilson Presidents had a 4th down at the 14 of Phoebus, 4th and 2, and appeared to be going for a field goal. And then when Bill D called a timeout for the Phantoms to discuss the situation, then it appeared, and again I appeared because I don't know for sure what Wilson's intentions were, but it appeared that they then changed their minds and decided to go for the first down. And the Phoebus defense held, and that was the big play of the first half.
Well, and Tim, I have to believe that they were going for the field goal because he sent in 5 new people, and 2 of them had completely white uniforms on. I mean, there's no mud, no nothing on them. So you know they had to be coming in for a special situation. But the coaching staff decided they figured they could pick up the first down on the gamble, but it didn't pay off.
55.
So the Wilson President hurt on the play is Darren Fetty, number 55, and he's gingerly leaving the field. He appears to be doing a little better than he might. He's favoring his right leg. There you see Bill D and the coaching staff and the players on the sidelines for the Phantoms. The rain has stopped again. It's been certainly heavy at times and totally non-existent at other times. So hopefully we'll get a break here. Maybe we can work out the last half of this ball game without any more rain.
Well, that was so young Sam Still Jr. giving us those pictures from down on the sideline, Tim.
3rd down and 4. Big play for the Phantoms. Pitch out goes to Mike Artis. Artis struggling, can't get the first down. He's down close to the 20-yard line. Again, Artis not getting a lot of playing time tonight as far as the ball-carrying chores. Artis did have a pass that he threw in the end zone earlier, and of course that was called back in the waning moments of the first half. He threw a Hail Mary down to apparently Petey Whitfield, but it was nullified by an illegal receiver downfield.
Well, they're not going for the field goal, Tim. They look like they are going for going to try to pick up the first down.
And they were trying to do what we have seen so many times other teams do, trying to get that defense to jump off.
We have seen Hampton do that following through the playoffs the last couple of years. We saw the Kempsville Chiefs last night attempt to do that also. And I don't know whether he's going to try to attempt a field goal here or what he's going to do, but that was not a bad call. That was a good coaching strategy. It just didn't work, and it doesn't work every time. But you don't know if you don't try it. But we got 2:46 to go in the third quarter, and Phoebus desperately needs to get a first down here, and then they can get them within field goal range.
I don't know. You know, you have to wonder, of course, whether Weichel can kick the ball quite that far, because the line of scrimmage is the 20. You figure you're going to have the spot maybe about the 27, so it's a 37-yarder, and you got a gusting breeze at times in your face.
Well, not only that, Tim, but what happened the last time just on a punting situation on the center. So now you got to have a good snap plus a good hold and a plant so that the kicker can get a good plant on. But then again, as slippery as the conditions are, the plant foot has got to be solid when he goes through the ball. If he slips, then it's not going to be very good, and then you have a chance of the other team picking the ball up and running it back in if they block it or something. So a lot of things can happen here, and I think what Bill D is going to do for sure, they're going for the first down, which is understandable, but let's see what play he called, Tim. But I know that the defense is up tight. It looks like they got 9 men on the line of scrimmage, and the other ones are almost up there, almost 11-man line.
Pitch out, right side rather, and it's going to be a first down. Mike Artis gets the call.
Is that Mike Artis on that ball?
Number 10, Mike Artis. So he comes up with an interception, and now he comes up with the big play to the right side and a first down at the 15-yard line.
Well, that's the first time we've seen a quick pitch tonight, Tim, and that really caught him off guard because they were up tight looking for him to go right up the middle, which is what Phoebus has done all year.
So the Phantoms use a little wrinkle in the normal play call, as they would normally be going either with Brown or Bodie. Mike Artis gets the first down. This is David Brown carrying for the Phantoms. David Brown slanting off the right side over there to make the stop for the Wilson Presidents was Demetrius Hinton, number 23. 2 minutes, the clock moving. Remain here in the third quarter. Just 2-0. A safety is the only score we've got in this ball game. It's been a hard-fought defensive struggle. Both teams have been superb on defense.
They really have, Tim. That was
Harlan's got a man at the 5. That's Peter Whitfield, touchdown.
Oh, an excellent second effort, Tim. He was tackled. The man had a hold of him, but he was not to be denied. That was an excellent call. I know that the Presidents did not expect a pass from the Phoebus at that end of in that particular position of the field.
Well, the Phantoms don't kick the ball, or rather pass the ball all that often to begin with. And when you do pass the ball and the other team isn't looking for it, that's that much more of a surprise. Peter Whitfield, of course, has done a great job all season long for the Phantoms.
Well, he's very strong, and he's an excellent defensive player. This is a very important extra point. Because, Tim, if he misses it, then that means that if the Wilson Patriots do score, they go for a 2-point conversion and tie it, where if he makes this point, of course, that's a 9 points. And he got it, so that means they've got to score twice.
So Weichel gets that one from the prone position after he made the contact with the football. That bad footing out there, he lost his footing, ended up on the seat of his pants, but he was just as happy to see it go through the uprights. He didn't care where he was at the conclusion of that.
I tell you what, I know he's excited about that because his plant foot went out from under him, and he just really had a tough time after he kicked the ball, staying up, and he went right down on his back.
So a minute 38 remains in the third quarter. And the Phantoms now had a touchdown earlier on a pass play from Mike Artis to Petey Whitfield. It didn't take because there was, in fact, a penalty, but this time there is no call. And a 13-yard pass completion from Holloman to Petey Whitfield. Whitfield made the grab at about the 3 and then just dragged a Wilson defender into the end zone with him. He was not to be denied. Petey Whitfield goes in at 6'5", 220, so he's certainly big enough to carry some people.
Yes, he is. He plays center on the basketball team, but he also plays defensive end, Tim, which is a real tough, demanding position. You have to be strong to play that position.
So Weichel will have the ball teed up. Let's give a lot of credit to the defensive efforts of Mike Artis on that last play. He's the one that came up with the interception, and Phoebus moves down the field for the score.
Well, not only the interception, Tim, but he's also the one who picked up the crucial first down.
He sure did. He was the man that they pitched out to and got the first down when they had a 4th down and 3. So the Phantoms go on top 9-0.
If they're going to give away game balls, they need to give one to Mike Artis for sure.
Terrence McKinley returns for the Wilson Presidents out to the 35. 18-yard run back on the kickoff.
Looks like he's getting ready to put the ball in the air, Tim. That's exactly what he's doing.
Throws it out in the flat. Struggling for some yardage, finally driven out of bounds.
Well, this is one thing that Coach Mike Talent told me, that they have a very complicated and sophisticated passing attack that they will sometimes send out 4 or 5 players. They'll send 2 or 3 deep. They will scrape a line, an end down and across the center, and then they will flare a back out of the backfield. And that time they flared the back, hit the back out of the backfield, and he picked up a couple yards.
Eric Evans was the man on the receiving end of that pass. Sparrow now has a 2nd down and 9 as they only picked up a little more than a yard on that play. Inside handoff, not much happening there for the Presidents. Clock moving now, inside of a minute to go in the third quarter. Tom Bodie in on the stop for the Phoebus Phantoms.
Well, he met him right at the line of scrimmage, Tim, because he didn't pick up any yardage.
3rd down and 9 at the 36. Obvious passing situation for Aaron Sparrow. He'll drop back. He's got some time. Petey Whitfield now chasing him, and he's going to sack him. Back at the 27-yard line, Petey Whitfield from his right side defensive end position chased Sparrow across the field and took him down for the sack. So now the Presidents will have to kick the ball away.
Well, Tim, you got to credit the defensive backfield for doing a good job, because nobody was open. He had to scramble, and Petey did a good job of delaying and then coming in on a crash from that end position.
And that is the end of the third quarter, as the Phoebus Phantoms have gotten themselves a touchdown, a 13-yard pass from Holloman to Whitfield at 1:38 of the third quarter. The extra point by Weichel was good, and now the Phantoms go into the fourth quarter leading by the score of 9-0. And I'm looking down to see if we can find our ever-present on-the-spot Phoebus supporter tonight, Mr. A.G. Womble. I see him down there. I'm not sure who he's going to have as an interview, but hopefully we'll have someone for you here. And let's see, A.G. is talking to some players on the sidelines. Let's go down now to A.G. Womble.
All right, Tim, Bob, we got Kerry Brown now, another injured Phantom. Your thoughts here? We're up 9-0. Things looking pretty good at this time.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, what about your injury? You going to be playing any more this season?
I don't know. It depends how the doctor. I got to go to the doctor next week to see what's up and everything.
Okay. Does this look like Phantom weather to you?
Yeah, this is our weather right here.
Good luck to you, Kerry.
Thank you.
All right, Tim, Bob, now back to you. Things looking good.
All right, A.G., thank you very much. Hinton punting from his 20-yard line, and a line drive kick fielded at the midfield stripe. So the Phantoms will again have good field position. They've enjoyed good field position for the majority of the evening, as Wilson on more than one occasion has started deep in their own territory, and the Phantoms continue to get good field position. This kind of weather and this kind of field condition, you got to have good field position.
You do, Tim, because it's hard to sustain a drive. First of all, the footing isn't that good, but then you also have, because of the conditions, you have a chance for a fumble or something like that. It's hard to do that in dry weather.
Tom Bodie tries the right side. Picks up almost 5. They'll mark him at the 46-yard line, it appears. So we'll give him 4 yards on the play. Bodie has had some good yardage here in the ball game tonight. David Brown has had some tough going, and again, this is to be expected on numerous occasions. You see the rain starting to pick up again. We're starting to get a little more of that moisture, so nothing's been consistent this evening.
The only thing consistent has been the weather. That's been
right.
bad.
It's been bad all weekend long. 2nd down and 6. Oh, my goodness, nice stick in the backfield as the Wilson defense, who's been extremely stingy all night, did a good job again stopping David Brown as he got back basically to the line of scrimmage if he did that.
Well, again, Tim, they're keying on him. They got 2 linebackers that are going wherever he goes, and that's making a big difference on the team. And I think that's why Bodie's having such the success he is because they're not concerned with Bodie as much as they are Brown.
Jonathan Wilson comes to the near sideline as a wide receiver. Holloman will keep, and he'll get nothing as the Wilson defense, their numbers starting to become obliterated by the mud on their jerseys. But nonetheless, 3 or 4 Wilson defenders right there to stop Holloman before he can get untracked. So it's 4th down now for the Phantoms. They haven't had any success since they received that kick at midfield. They've gotten 2 yards and gone nowhere the last 2 downs. So obviously they want to keep possession and run some time off that clock, but they're not going to have much luck here as Weichel will have to kick it from his 43. Kicks it away from the receiver. It's taking a great Phoebus roll. It goes out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. So, again, the kicking game has been highly successful for Phoebus tonight.
Well, Weichel has done a good job. So, 2nd or 3rd time he's kicked the ball inside the 20. That's inside the 10. Another one went down about, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, inside the 15 or inside the 5. Okay.
Yeah, I think they had it. That's where the safety occurred.
They end up with a safety because of that. So that kicking game has been very important, and in fact, that's what's caused to get the Phantoms the first 2 points on the board.
So again, the Wilson Presidents will have poor field position. The 9-yard line will be their starting point. There's a good shot of the football and the center, as well as the rest of the Wilson Presidents. Sparrow fakes, wants to pass, pumps, goes long. He's got a man open, but he throws it a little tall as the intended receiver down the sidelines was Mike Hooker, number 87. And that ball was just too poorly thrown for him to get underneath it.
Well, and Tim, he didn't know which shoulder to look over. He looked over the shoulder he thought he should, which was the left, and it was over his right shoulder. And, of course, it was out of bounds. Had he caught it, he'd been out of bounds anyway. But that's a gutsy call. But you have to understand that the Wilson Presidents are in a situation where they don't win, they go home. I mean, this is you win, you go on. You got 2 more games possibly at state championship, so they got to pull out all the stops.
2nd down and 10. Sparrow at his 9-yard line. Straight back. He's going to be tackled for a safety. Well, wait a minute. That ball's loose. Who's got it? Safety again. So for a moment there was the opportunity for Phoebus to land on that ball. It was live. You could see the official just backing up, trying to get out of the player's way. And a safety, the 2nd of the ball game, now makes it 11-0 Phoebus.
And that was Petey Whitfield did an excellent job coming from his defensive end position, Tim, and put pressure on him, but not only grabbed the quarterback Sparrow, but made him fumble the ball, and then had almost got a hold of the ball himself and got the touchdown, which would have been apropos because he's the one that caused the fumble.
So again, the attempted pass never materializes as Sparrow just was chased into the end zone. Unfortunately for the Presidents at this point, again, they could have easily given up a touchdown when in fact that ball was loose and anybody's ball in the end zone. One of the Presidents was alert enough to fall on it and prevent the touchdown. But the 2-point safety and now again the free kick. Phoebus will get the ball back. 9:33 remains in the ball game, and now they're on top by 11-0.
Well, Mr. Weichel should be credited with 4 points there, not by doing anything but kicking that ball out of bounds inside the 10 and 5 at 2 different occasions. Very short kick, Tim.
Taken by one of the up men at midfield, and a scrum forms at the 45. If you're a
you better explain what a scrum is. I don't know what it is.
If you're familiar with another sport not dissimilar to football, of course, rugby is a game where the players huddle up and try and scrum after the ball, or try and they form a scrum, and that's what it looked like for a moment. All right, there you see in the middle of your screen there some of the Phoebus Phantoms. Number 20 for Phoebus would be J.P. Weichel, who that man you were mentioning how important his kicking game has been tonight for the Phantoms. They start from the 44. Struggling for some yardage is Tom Bodie. Bodie will get maybe a yard at best, but more importantly now the clock continues to move. We are inside of 9 minutes to go in the ball game. Tim Cole, Bob Hintz, and A.G. Womble and crew at Todd Stadium for the Eastern Region Division 5 Group AAA Football Finals.
Well, we may have two teams in the semifinals for the state championship from the Peninsula District, and both of them from Hampton School System. That says a lot for the programs at the Hampton School System.
Well, of course, as many of us have been aware of for quite some time, the Peninsula District, there you see the Woodrow Wilson President's cheering squad trying to exhort their team on to bigger and better things. But as we know, the Peninsula District has been a hotbed for football for a long time. David Brown met and driven back. Nothing happening for Mr. Brown as he's had a tough night. They have really been on top of him most of the evening.
Well, they have been that. They've had his number.
Anyway, as I started to say, though, the Peninsula has become a hotbed, and they've been the Rodney Dangerfield of high school football for some years. But you know, the other side, the other side of the water keeps maligning football on the Peninsula, but they keep coming over here and going back with their tails between their legs.
Well, there was one of the people up here talked about Cahagan's quotes in the paper, and if I get a chance, I'll go through that.
Holloman wrestled down for no gain, so it'll be 4th down and more than 10 for Phoebus. Go ahead.
Well, what happened was the Virginia Pilot interviewed Coach Cahagan for the for the Kempsville team, and it was in this morning's paper, and it made it sound like that the loss was just, it wasn't a big thing. I mean, it was no pat on the back for the Hampton Crabbers of the Peninsula District or anything.
Weichel again called upon to do the kicking. Into a gusting wind, gets a good Phoebus roll. It goes outside the field of play, inside the 20 again. So Weichel continues to enjoy great success with his kicking game tonight. And the Wilson Presidents once again will start at their 17-yard line. So the Presidents plagued with field position problems tonight.
They have not had good field position just on a couple occasions tonight, Tim, that's all. But you know they're going to have to put the ball in there. They got 7 minutes and 10 seconds. They've got to have 2 scores. And what they've got to have is 2 touchdowns, because a touchdown and a field goal isn't going to do it. Or they could get a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and a field goal. That would be the only way they could get it. And then it would be a tie.
The handoff goes to Wright as he crosses the 20 to about the 21.
Well, the Hampton, check that. If the Phoebus Phantoms win tonight, which it looks like, Tim, that they're going to do, they will meet somebody down here next week, and I don't know who's all they got a chance of playing. If you get a chance, you might want to check that out. I don't have the standings, but they will play right here at Todd Stadium, and if it's a championship game, it will also be played right here at Todd Stadium, from what I understand.
From the way I read it, Well, we'll get to that in just a moment. Sparrow throws the ball intended for Hinton, incomplete. The teams involved in this bracket of the Group AAA Division 5, they would play if Phoebus wins, they would play the winner of the EC Glass Cortland game. EC Glass coming into that game is 11-0, and they're playing Cortland, who is 10-1. So EC Glass or Cortland would be the opponents for the Phantoms should they go on and win this game. There you see Bill D, a good close-up of Bill D on the sidelines. So it's 3rd down and 7 for the Presidents. Sparrow looks to pass, has time, pumps, and now he is sacked. He had plenty of time momentarily, but all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes Andre Jenkins, number 66 for the Phantoms, and he says, "Hello, Mr. Sparrow. Welcome to Peninsula District Football."
Yes, sir.
Jenkins, big boy, 6'1", 248, a senior over at Phoebus.
Well, he put all 248 pounds on that young Mr. Aaron Sparrow, who is a freshman. He's going to be a good one from what he hasn't had great success tonight, but let's face it, the weather hasn't been conducive to a passing attack at all. So standing at his goal line is Hinton in punt formation for the Presidents. He takes a step forward, then kicks the ball. He's going to go out of bounds at about the 38-yard line of Wilson. Well, they're marking at the 39 as it went around of Brown's right in a big puddle there. Clock stops with 5:42 remaining in the ball game. Phoebus now, of course, has one thing on their mind. That is to keep control of the football and wind that clock down. Well, if they could get a first down or two, Tim, they could do that. But they have not been very, very successful at all with David Brown, or even running the option. The only thing that has worked for him has been a quick pass and the quick hitter with Bodie up the middle.
From the 39 of Wilson. And this is Bodie. Bodie crosses the 30 down to the 28. So Bodie picks up a first down, got 11 yards on the kick.
Well, you'd like him to pick up the first down, but let's keep the clock running. Of course, in high school ball, when you get a first down, they stop the clock to move the chains. They do that in high school and college, as opposed to the pros.
There's Hinton limping, number 23 for the Presidents. Demetrius Hinton coming into this game, he was the best receiver on the south side. And he's caught a couple of passes tonight, but nothing has been really going that well. And now Hinton is going to go off the field. They'll call an official's timeout while he struggles to get off the field. And he might be finished for the evening. The clock stopped. Now it's restarted with 5:18 to go in the ball game. Oh, a fumble on the snap again. Again, Holloman has to just simply drop down and recover the fumble. So that ball in that muddy situation is being a little more difficult to hold on to.
It most certainly is, Tim, but also I have not seen the Wilson Presidents fumble the ball on a snap from center.
Now you have to wonder, the Phantoms have had some difficulty here in the second half. There have been 3 occasions in the second half alone that they've had problems on the exchange from center. But we certainly don't want to blame anyone for it. It's miserable conditions out there, and they're doing the best they can. Brown tries to get some yardage. There you see a good shot of David Brown as he'll get back up on his feet.
Well, David may not pick up a lot of yardage tonight, but he'll play another game this year.
Well, you know, the important part of it is that Brown, of course, so many times in the big game, the defense will key on one man, and so he's served his purpose in a sense.
Absolutely.
That the defense has had to concentrate on him and has allowed Bodie to get open. You know, it's sometimes tough for the star runner on the team. They know they got 2 men and 3 men keying on him, but that leaves somebody else to have success, and that's Bodie right there. Again, the yardage right now isn't as important as the clock.
That's right. They've got 2 opponents now. When I mean they, I'm talking about the Wilson Presidents. They've got not only the Phoebus Phantoms as an opponent, but they also have the clock as an opponent because they don't even have the ball. But Phoebus takes the timeout, which is surprising. I don't know why they elected to take a timeout, unless it looks like maybe somebody has shook up a little bit, but they don't have to call a timeout there. The officials would have stopped the clock.
Well, it's 4th down and 7, so I guess the situation was that Phoebus was uncertain of exactly what their options might be, And rather than make a mistake on what they should or should not do, they elected to call a timeout, stopping the clock with 3:39 to go.
Well, I see Coach D come in, and he also had a hold of number 20, Weichel, as he walked in. He said, okay, Weichel, let's see if we can put this thing out inside the 5 again.
Well, of course, I wouldn't be so certain they'd punt at this point. They might be trying a field goal. I don't know. I wouldn't even want to speculate at this point. The ball is at the 24 of Wilson. Weichel is on the field, and it looks like he will, in fact, try a field goal from the 31, which would be a 41-yard field goal if he, in fact, is successful.
Now watch his plant foot, Tim. He's got to plant that left foot, the one that's got the sock on. That's the one that's important. He's got to be able to plant it without slipping.
It's a fake. Quarterback hold, and no, my goodness, Tom Bodie's done most everything right all night, but that time he just simply couldn't hold on to that greasy football. So it was, in fact, a fake. Weichel never intended to kick the ball. In fact, the holder, Chris Witz, is a quarterback, a junior quarterback, heir apparent to Holloman's position. And we saw Witz play last week after the Manor game got out of hand, and he simply took the snap, spun around, no intention at all of kicking a field goal. And Bodie was open. He put it right in his hands, but unfortunately, Bodie just couldn't hold on. There you see some of the Phantoms, some happy Phantoms, among others. Number 89 would be Vincent Howard. So the Presidents take over on downs. They still have a chance, and now this ball is aired out. It's called go for the goal line. I'll throw it to you if you can get to it. Contact made, but the official does not have any flag thrown.
Tim, that was incidental contact. Nobody would have been able to catch that ball anyway, but it just looked like they just kind of bumped each other. I don't think anybody was an intentional on either one of the two
I really would have been hard-pressed to say one or the other of those players made the contact. So there is no flag. Stopping the clock, 3:28 to go in the ball game. Phoebus on top by 11, looking to advance to the state semifinals. They'll either play EC Glass or Cortland, should they win this game, leading by 11-0. Screen pass right into the hands of touchdown. Oh my goodness, number 70, Dwayne Jones, the tackle, just came in there and said, how do you do? Thank you, Mr. Sparrow.
Oh, what a fantastic play. That was a screen play all the way. He just got in the middle of it, and they threw the ball directly to him, ran that thing in for a touchdown. That was from, about the 25-yard line, I guess, Tim. I don't know where he got the ball, but that was what an excellent, excellent defensive play.
Dwayne Jones, number 70, big Dwayne, comes in at 6 foot, 223 pounds. He just grabbed that thing in full stride and was never to be seen again.
That's a lineman's dream, Tim. Pick off a pass and run it in for a touchdown. You don't see that
pass. They threw that thing out there. A dangerous pass when you're standing back in the shadow of your own end zone. So Weichel will be roughed up a little bit as he kicks the extra point. A flag comes down. The extra point will be good, and they'll tack on some yardage. So
yeah,
Wilson now showing a little bit of their frustration, as you might expect.
Well, that was not a flagrant foul. He did run into him, but he wasn't trying to hurt him. He was going for the block, but that will move the ball up 15 yards, and that means that
I wish we had an instant replay for Mr. Jones on that.
Oh, absolutely. He needs to see that one. That was fantastic. But you can see on the screen there's only 3:21 left to go in the game, and this is definitely the Phantoms' victory at this point. In no way that Wilson Presidents are gonna come. I don't even believe they're gonna score, Tim.
Well, you know, that would be again feathers in the cap of the Peninsula District. Successive shutouts on the finals of the Eastern Regionals, again showing the superiority that is being exhibited by the Peninsula teams.
Absolutely.
You know, and Kickintan would have beaten either one of the Wilson team or the opponents for Hampton last night, Kempsville, the way they've been playing. So, you know, there's some tough teams.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So Bodie ends up, I heard the PA announcement, 110 yards on 14 carries for Tom Bodie tonight.
That's excellent. And I told you at the start of the game that it's going to be a runner like Bodie. It was the one that was going to outshine everybody. He made me true tonight.
Weichel will kick it through the end zone as they tack on the roughing the kicker penalty. And Weichel says, take that. Don't knock me down again. I'll put the ball through the end zone.
All right, well, we'll let you have the ball on the 20, but that's all you're going to get.
So a happy bunch of Phoebus Phantoms as they will advance to the semifinals of the Group AAA Division 5 bracket. 18-0 our score, as hope we'll stay tuned now for some post-game interviews. I understand A.G. Womble will be down on the sidelines wearing his Phoebus sweatshirt and his Phoebus hat.
And he will talk to a lot of happy Phoebus ball players and coaches, Tim.
Sure he will, so hope you'll stay tuned for that as we have 3:21 remaining. Sparrow will again try to get his team on the scoreboard. Quick look-in pass, it's not held on to as the intended receiver was Cordell Green. So apparently, I think we heard.
I'm trying to pick up what he said. Somebody's won 14-0.
Cortland upset EC Glass.
Oh,
so Cortland will be apparently the Phoebus opponent at Todd Stadium next Saturday afternoon. So the Phantoms will take on a good Cortland team. EC Glass was undefeated coming into that game, and they are a 14-0 loser to Cortland. The pass thrown, and is it complete? They're saying, yeah, I believe they're going to say it is complete. It looked like it might have taken a short hop. So
I think that official blew that one, Tim. That ball definitely hit the ground before he caught it.
It did look like a one-hopper, but
I don't know who number 54 is, but he couldn't see. He was closer than we are, and he should have saw that ball hit the ground.
Well, you know, it's tough down there. No one knows that more than me. I did a little officiating during the summer in baseball, and let me tell you something. I wouldn't have an official's job for love nor money. They haven't got enough money to make me an official. Sparrow drops back, looks, has some time. He one-hops this when he hits the official, number 54, on the one-hop. So won't be any question about that goal.
If he said that was completed, we better go check his eyesight out.
So, you know, in defense of that official, he was visually blocked because the receiver was between him and the ball when the ball was caught. So it was one of those tough plays. He should have really asked for some help.
Yeah, that was the thing he should have done, Tim. That's a good point. He should have tried to get some help because he couldn't see whether it was caught or not.
Nonetheless, 2:50 remains in the ball game. It's 2nd down and 10 at the 30. Sparrow straight back. You know he's going to pass. He throws a long one for Hinton. Hinton was open, but the ball just wasn't thrown well, as the rain continues to cascade down here at the Todd Stadium. Field getting muddier and muddier, but I guarantee you by next Saturday afternoon it'll be in tip-top shape as Wayne Begore and his crew will undoubtedly do their usual magic, and they'll be ready for that one. So it's 3rd down and 10. Just 6 seconds elapsed on that play. It's 2:44 of the time remaining. The Phantoms on top by the score of 18-0. We've had 2 safeties in this ball game. We've had a 13-yard touchdown pass thrown to Petey Whitfield, and then we had an interception by Dwayne Jones, the tackle for the Phantoms on the screen pass. He was the man who caught that ball and never stopped on his way to the end zone. Sparrow looks. Now he's going to run. He's got some running room. And he's going to slide safely to play another day at the 42-yard line. He had a couple of big Phoebus Phantoms zeroing in on him.
He did too. That was not a bad move in his
Good
part.
move. He got the first down, and he says, look, I'm a freshman. I want to be around here for future and big things, and I'm sure he will be. Sparrow.
Well, he's got 3 more years in that, and some of this, quite a few young players on that Wilson team. Tim,
sure
you was talking about one of the
years.
halfbacks has been a sophomore or junior, so they'll be a good team to reckon with next year.
Sparrow is a freshman. Junius Moore is a junior. Sparrow again wants to pass. Over the middle, it's tipped. And
incomplete, Tim.
It's incomplete. Okay, I had to wait for a moment anymore. You can't be too sure. The intended receiver was Timmy Morris, number 24. Couldn't hold on to the football. 2:05 remains in the ball game. The Wilson side of the field, you got to give credit to the fans. I tell you, to have even a handful of fans left at this point in the game with a constant drizzle and rain and cold. Phoebus are getting smaller and smaller in number as well, because people want to get out of here while they can. It's nasty out here. Sparrow exclusively throwing the ball right now at the 42. It's 2nd down and 10. Looks inside, nothing happening there. Again, Hinton was the intended receiver, but it wasn't even really close to him. You see a lot of the familiar names and numbers for the Phantoms on defense. We alluded to the fact that the Phantoms have a lot of two-way players. Mike Hardis is out there, David Brown, Tom Bodie. These guys play a full 48 minutes.
They most certainly do, Tim. There's 8 of them that start both on offense and defense. Mike Hardis is another one that plays both ways. Petey Whitfield, who has done an excellent job defensively. He's caused a fumble and a safety, and then caught a pass and drug one of the presidents into a goal line with him to get that touchdown.
And a flag is thrown as delay of game will be charged to the presidents. They took way too much time. They didn't even get close to getting that play off before the time.
You can see that people are really happy down in the sideline.
Bill D still all business here. He says, come on, fellas, we've got 2 minutes and a second to play in this game. There'll be lots of time for celebration. As you might expect, the Phoebus players hamming it up on the sidelines. Is a happy time for them. Oh, the rain is starting to get heavier and heavier again.
At this point, the people out there on the field, Tim, they don't care. I don't think they even feel it any difference.
3rd down and 15. Sparrow pumps, looks, throws long, and it's knocked away and incomplete. No flag. And a Wilson President player slow to get up, and I think he's more upset with the end result of the play as anything. Well, anyway, he's going to be attended to on the far sidelines. He's face down in the out of bounds area of the field.
And there was a big splash as they went down for that ball. So there's water. They've got this field crowned real good so that most of the water will drain off to the sidelines, and it will not be on the center of the field or even on the sides of the field. It gets clear to the sidelines. It's a good crown on this field.
1:54 time left as the clock stops, of course, with each incomplete pass. 4th down and 15 for the Presidents, and they're going for it. There's nothing to lose on this point. Sparrow throws. He's got a man at midfield, and he's driven out of bounds at the 45. That'll be enough for the 1st down. Got a fresh jersey in there, and that's number 15, Donald Scarborough, who's listed as a quarterback in the program. He's a senior, only 135 pounds. You know, that always brings up to mind the fact that a lot of these players, it used to be a myth that you had to be 200 pounds, 6'6", and all this stuff to play. A lot of small players are highly successful. Mike Stefanko, Dwayne Murphy for the Crabbers.
Todd Summers.
You got a lot of the Phoebus players here that don't go over 200 pounds, and they're having a great season. So, Mom and Dad, if you think the boy has to be a big kid to play, give him a chance. These kids are having a great time out here tonight. As you said, they get a chance to play in the finals of the Eastern Regionals.
And have a chance to go right on and have a championship team. That's something that very, very few people get a chance to do.
There you saw the Wilson side of the field as the rain continues to come down. Sparrow pumps, now throws, and this is going to go out of bounds as Hinton again was his intended receiver. Defending on the play for Phoebus, Maurice Turner, number 9.
Well, Tim, this is the longest 2 minutes that we've had tonight, because every time there's an incomplete pass, it stops the clock. Every time you have a 1st down, it stops the clock. But this is the first time that Wilson has been able to get any kind of movement of the ball down the field. They picked up, I believe 3 first downs on this drive, although it's a desperate situation, and I'm sure that the Phantoms are playing a little looser than what they most normally would have played if they had this been at a different point in the ball game.
They're going to get a 1st down as we have a penalty against Phoebus.
They had 12 men on the field, Tim.
That's not fair, is it?
No.
That'd cost you 5 yards, and in this case, a 1st down. So Wilson has 4 fresh downs. Minute 15 to go. Sparrow, up quarterback to Holloman, and Chris Witz comes up with the interception and takes it out across the 20 to the 24. So the Phantoms now, with 43 seconds left, have this ball game all wrapped up, leading 18-0. And all they need to do is the clock is restarted. They need to call one play. And unless Wilson calls a timeout, that will be your ball game.
And most certainly will. And that's one way to preserve a shutout is to get the ball. Don't let them get that ball down there and cross the goal line. That was an excellent job that defense has done all night long.
Well, Mike Artis has done a superb job as he intercepted that ball and set up the touchdown, the first touchdown by Phoebus. As they take the snap and they simply fall on the football, the Phoebus fans on the sidelines counting the time down. Just 9 seconds and the clock is moving. So that's going to be your ball game. The Phantoms start to celebrate.
As well they should, Tim. A very deserving team. They have played tough all year long. Had to forfeit a game. Like you said, they should have been 10-1 coming in instead of 9-2. But 18-0, and that's two teams from the other side that has come over here in the championship game and has walked away with no points at all. We want to take time to salute the Phantoms of Phoebus High School, Bill D and his coaching staff, Clay Washington and the administrative staff and all the student body over there at Phoebus.
All right, our trusty A.G. Womble is down on the sidelines, and momentarily he will be having some post-game interviews for us. And again, I'll just take a chance here to wrap up the scoring for you. The only scoring necessary was that safety at 1:53 of the first quarter when Sparrow fell on a fumble in the end zone. A 13-yard pass to Petey Whitfield made it 9-0. And then the 2-point safety followed by the intercepted pass. Here we go down now to A.G. Womble. He's got Tom Bodie with him.
All right, Tim, Bob, we got Tom Bodie. Tom, great effort. Your thoughts after this impressive win for Phoebus?
We stuck in there, kept playing hard to the last minute. Things started going for us, and we took over the game. Last year we got to this point, we didn't do so well, and the coach said he don't want that to happen again. Half us played on the team when we lost last year, and we ain't like that feeling.
Okay. Can this team go all the way?
I think so.
All right. Good luck to you, Tom. Great game.
See if we can get a shot of A.G.'s wounds there. The poor boy fell off the roof today. You know, it's supposed to be out on the roof when it's raining and nasty.
I tell you what, he said he had a leak or something through a skylight and went up there to check it, and the ladder slipped or something. He said his life kind of passed before his eyes.
Let's go back down now. I think he's got John Brown, number 75, with him.
Okay. All right, we got John Brown now. John, big win. Your thoughts on the big championship?
First, we started out slow because we weren't used to the mud and stuff, and we couldn't get our traction. And we got a couple of penalties the first half that hold us back, push us back from scoring and everything. Then the second half, we got stuff together.
Okay.
And we had to took it on in.
Great job. Congratulations, Eastern Regional champs. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to try to get Coach Bill D here in just a minute, Tim.
All right, A.G., thank you. And again, I want to recap very briefly for you the scoring. 2 safeties for Phoebus, a 13-yard pass to Whitfield at the 5. He struggled in and got the touchdown. And then an intercepted pass by number 70 for Phoebus, Dwayne Jones. He picked off a screen pass and just rambled in for the final 15 yards and the touchdown. And that rounded out the scoring. Weichel added a couple of extra points. And there you see your score as A.G. now will be working his way down the field to interview yet more of the Phoebus Phantoms. And we will hopefully have you stay tuned as we'll have more interviews. And I think he's looking for Bill D.
He said something about trying to get a hold of Coach D to get his thoughts on the ball game.
He's got David Brown. Let's go back down to A.G.
Almost here. All right, David Brown, great win, Eastern Regional champs. Your thoughts, your feelings?
Well, it's a tough game. We came down to the end. The field conditions really took away our offense, but Tom Bodie,
how did the mud affect your running and buddies and all?
I couldn't get started deep in the backfield, but Tom, he got the quick trap up the middle, and he just did it all for us.
David, can this team go all the way?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good job.
There's some excited people down there on the field. Everybody wants to get in front of that camera down there.
I think A.G. just got tackled at about the 30 there.
I hope not. He's been down on the ground one too many times today already, Tim.
About ran him over. A.G. is again, he's working his way down the field, and there you see some of the Phoebus players as they are
You're diving in the water. Look at him, Tim.
Doing a slide. Let me see if we get some of those fellas on there. a bunch of happy football players. You just don't realize how much these fellas work hard day in and day out. As you said before, they practice 3 to 4 hours a day when it's hot. Back in September when
they start in August, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough, long season, but these boys have done a fine job. Let's go back down to AG now.
Let's see who he's got cornered down there.
Jonathan, shut them out. You have to be happy with this big effort.
Yes, it was great defense effort both ways.
Yeah.
Just the field played a lot in it, too.
Okay. Jonathan, you had that touchdown call back. I know that had to hurt a little bit, but you have to be happy with this final score.
Yeah, the touchdown got called back on a illegal man downfield. We just went in the locker room at halftime, came back, said what we had to do.
What did Coach Bill D tell you all at halftime?
He told us that 2-zip wasn't going to win the ball game. We need to put more points on the board, and we came out and did it.
All right, Smoke, all the way? All the way this year?
All the way.
Okay.
One at a time.
Okay. Okay. Jonathan Wilson there. All right, let's see if we. All right, who we got here? Petey Whitfield, Mike Artis, and Bubba Cox. All right. All right, Petey Whitfield, your thoughts on this big win? Let's see, you had the touchdown. Tell us about that play.
Yes, it was just a 26-power pass. It was a fake to David Brown, which they was keying on, and defense just went to him, and I was wide open in flats and just put it there.
All right, Mike Artis, key interception among other things, and a good run back.
Yes, it was a design play. It wasn't designed, but I ran out for the flats, and I saw him throw it. I just picked it off and ran it.
Who's this big man here? Booker Cox. Booker, your thoughts, and tell us about that touchdown. Did you see it coming all the way?
Yeah, I read it. Coach told us, keep calm and everything. And we.
Is that your first touchdown this season?
No.
That's right. You got one early in the season.
Yeah,
against Kick 10.
Two.
Okay. Can this team go all the way?
Yeah, we can go all the way. This is the right team to do it.
Okay. Great job, Booker. We're going to try to get Coach Bill D here.
He didn't look like he was really excited. Booker Cox is one that picked off that ball and run it in. I thought he'd be a little more excited. He's sort of low key, isn't he, Tim?
He said, just another day in the life of an offensive and defensive tackle. Booker, I apologize to Booker Cox. I gave number 70, Dwayne Jones, credit for that interception. In fact, it was 78, Booker Cox. And Big Booger, I'm just kidding, Booker, 6'7", 265, a junior. He'll be back.
Yes,
he might make him a wide receiver.
He can have anything he wants.
That's right. He can play anywhere he wants to. All right, let's see now. AG, you got anybody else down there you want to talk with? I think he's got Bill D.
Your thoughts?
The kids play a great defensive football game. They had some weapons. Their quarterback coming into the game, was throwing the ball real well, and we didn't give him any big plays. Our kicker did a great job keeping him down. And
Coffin corner several times.
Yeah, we've worked on that hard. That kicking game, that makes a difference especially in this type of weather.
Okay. Can this team go all the way?
Well, we're just going to take it one game at a time. We feel that, we've got a good chance. We've got a good football team, and the kids have confidence, and we got Cortland next week, and that's what we're thinking about, Cortland.
Bill, congratulations on this regional championship, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks a lot.
All right, good job. All right, Tim, Bob, now back up to you.
All right, AG, thank you very much. Again, a yeoman's job on your part down there on a muddy, nasty night here at Todd Stadium. As you see, the Phoebus Phantoms, Mike Artis, Tom Bodie, Big Booker Cox. Boy, he is big. I'm really sorry I didn't get your name right the first time, Booker.
That was Tim Cole that said that.
At any rate, there you see the trophy in the hands of one of the Phoebus faithful as they are making their way off the field. The Phantoms come away with an 18-point victory over the Woodrow Wilson Presidents. The Wilson Presidents go home. The Phoebus Phantoms improve their record to 10-2 and look for Cortland next Saturday afternoon here at Todd Stadium. So again, a final message from you, Bob, before we wrap this up.
Well, just want to say congratulations to the team. We got two Hampton School teams that are in the semifinals of their respective divisions, and hats go off to both the teams, the coaching staff, and the schools. They represent the Peninsula District real well. I was real pleased with the way the outcome came on, and I thought it would be a ball player that was Tom Bodie type of ball player that would rise up and shine, but the whole defense rose up and shone for the Phoebus Phantoms. So I look forward to coming back next weekend, Tim.
All right, there you see the #1 sign as Phoebus is #1 tonight at Todd Stadium. Again, there you see the names of the people who bring this to you. Our people did a fine job as usual during terribly inclement weather. We thank all of our crew for a great job once again. Until next time, thanks for watching. The final score, Phoebus 18, Woodrow Wilson nothing. Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody.